Are we
Dark start for our holiday episode.
are we
I'm ready.
we're good to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Cool.
Come on.
Welcome to the Damaged Goods podcast. We are great start. Our stuff's falling down. We are Jess, Robert, and Ill Vibe coming at you from Toronto, Canada.
Coming at you.
Coming at you. Baby, it's cold outside, but we are toasty here under the glow of our neon light.
Raping local neighborhood girls.
Whoa.
Baby, it's cold outside. Isn't that what everyone's
Oh,
upset about?
right. Got you. Okay.
I suppose I did go immediately for a rape joke, but it is the rape joke everyone's upset about right now. So
That's true. That is the rape joke of the moment. Big thanks.
what a start to the holiday episode. What am I doing?
Big thank you, as always, to lyricvids.com, the web's #1 lyric video animation company. You can check us out at Damaged Goods Pod on all social media. And you can check out the video on YouTube if you're listening, and vice versa. If you're watching, you can listen on any podcast app.
Wow, that's one of my favorites from you. That was great.
Yeah.
Can I throw a self plug before we keep moving?
Of course.
Because I always plug at the end, but no one gets to the fucking end. You know.
No, as soon as you start wrapping up.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, on to some whatever, like 5 Minute Mayhem podcast by whoever. Anyways, so I have a new single coming out for the first time in like a year. On January 25th, and I figure this is coming out like in December, so the listenership will be December, January. You can pre-save my new song. It's called Another One. You can pre-add it if you're an Apple Music person. You don't have to pre-buy it. I don't get any money anymore for my music. It's just all like streaming stuff. So all I want you to do is listen to it. So another one,
really good.
Another one comes out January 25th. We shot an incredible music video directed by an old friend of yours. It's Captivate, right? There's a capture. Captured?
No, I think
Captivate.
Captivate. Yeah, Captivate.
Captivate. I'm the worst at that. But anyways, Captivate, based out of Niagara region. They're the best. And we made an amazing music video, January 25th. Peep it. I love you. Back to the podcast.
I have more to say about that, but first I'm going to introduce our guest so he doesn't have to sit quietly this
I know, that's
whole
why I was
time.
I wanted the
Yeah,
I wanted
know.
the first plug for one episode.
It was perfect.
Okay.
It was perfect. So super excited. I met this guest in the open mic circuit as I've been doing some stand-up. He's a great comic, and he also has an awesome podcast, which I was on a couple weeks ago, Flicks with Dicks. Ian Fergus.
Hello. Hello, podcast world. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Pretty sweet. The listeners don't usually answer. I don't know what it's like on your
Wait,
podcast.
listen for just a second. No.
I'm good. Just like one little
Everybody
guy.
all at once. I want you to all reply from your various cubicles and... No,
But we don't put this out live, so that wouldn't really make sense. It's like some weird like time travel thing.
You hope somebody on the subway just starts saying stuff, and you're like, oh, they responded to my question.
It's like that movie where the guy carves on the desk and then he reads it like in the future. Do you know the movie I'm talking about?
No, but
There's
I
this
like
thing
it.
where like whatever he's like talking to his dead dad, and his dad's like carving on the desk like 30 years ago, and then it's appearing in real time in front of him. It's just like a time warp thing.
Yeah.
The listeners fucking get it. They watch better movies than you guys.
Super unprofessional question. Just because the thing isn't facing us, usually I can see that it's recording.
Yeah, that's why I made the joke right before we started that the red dot means it's recording.
So we're all good.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're good.
cool. What I was going to say about Another One is that you always make fun of me that I never get really excited about your songs when you show them to me. I'm always just like, yeah, it's good. You know, I'm not like, oh, sweet song, babe. But this one is probably one of my favorites. I do think it's a really sweet song.
Because it's not just me on it, so she really enjoys it. She really enjoys it when there's a more talented artist also on the song.
I like you on it too, and it's really nice that you shot it with an old friend of mine, and the video is amazing, and I'm super excited about it.
What? Cool.
Yeah.
How's the anxiety for waiting like a month for something to come out?
Way more than a month, bro. I wrote it in April, recorded it in May, shot a video for it in October. Even that is a whole wait. That's just kind of what you get used to it. I think in a lot of ways it's like the same thing as a comedian where you shoot a special or whatever. And I mean, you guys aren't shooting a special yet, but it's still like you finish like whatever half hour of chunk of jokes that you think are like the jokes, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna start new ones. You don't go, oh fuck, it's gonna be 6 months till they're good. It's just like that's just what happens. You know what I mean? Like I put out an album last January, or it wasn't last April, it was last April, and I just immediately started writing, and this was the first really great song I wrote after that, and I didn't feel like, oh, I gotta wait. It's just like I'm still doing the old material.
Yeah.
This is the next material. You know what I mean? And it's like I still have a love affair at that point, probably with like Oklahoma was a song I was loving at the time.
Yeah, totally.
And then you just go, these are the next ones, and you're always like tweeting to your like 12 supporters like, hey, you're gonna really love this next one, Another One. But you're not gonna hear it for fucking 10 months, but
Get them real crunk for it.
you know.
Yeah. Do you do music stuff? I thought I saw like a guitar or something, right?
Yeah, I used to be in bands in high school, and then I haven't done anything since I started comedy. And then when the podcast started, I started writing songs about the other guys on the podcast.
Oh, sweet.
Just kind of like
love ballads.
Kind of, yeah. Like one's about Dobsky, the one guy on the podcast. He's from Florida, and he's always really mysterious about why he's there or why he came from there. So I wrote a song about him fucking a gator and getting Gatorades.
I like it.
And having to escape.
That's sweet.
What genre is the song?
That one's like ragtime.
Wow.
Yeah, I got my old roommate's a musician, so I got him to learn how to play ragtime piano and write the song for me.
So ragtime's like the.
I'm not going to diss you in modern day music. I'm going to diss you in ragtime.
Is that when you walk into like a saloon and there's a person like? Yeah, that's crazy. I think I just learned what ragtime is.
Time
I don't know
of
if I ever knew
rags.
that.
Yeah. It's just something fun to do. I don't know. I got a buddy who
put them
makes
out?
music, so I haven't put them out yet, just on the podcast.
Yeah, sweet.
Maybe that'll drive more people to listen to the podcast. You can't hear my music unless you listen to the podcast.
I like it, actually. If someone said, hey, listen to this funny podcast, and occasionally one of the podcasters writes a song about one of the other podcasters, I might tune in for that.
Yeah.
Probably because it's like the good and the bad. You know, it's mostly just going to be like, there's no way this person put together like an orchestra. It's going to be like, I wrote a song about you. We're only going to play it one time and move on. So
Super
yeah, you do
special.
want to tune in to like listen to it, you know?
Yeah. So your podcast, explain to the listeners what your podcast is all about, because I didn't really give it a full explanation.
It is a podcast featuring full frontal male nudity.
From you three hosts.
I did it one day,
Okay.
but mostly we watch movies that feature full frontal male nudity in them, and then we rate and discuss the dicks. And
Size of the dicks and the and the girth.
Yeah, we get really into that. We got like the rating system for who. The biggest one we've seen so far is unnamed. We don't know whose it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it's maybe like a really big celebrity who like did, you know what I mean? Like he did it kind of like under like a nom de plume, like a nom de dick.
Yeah.
We got our theory about that because it's supposed to be a picture of James Franco's character's penis.
Yeah.
But then I did some research of my own. 'Cause I was like, there's got to be information online about James Franco's dick.
Of course.
Yeah.
there is, yeah.
And so I started looking into it, and what's his name from Milk? Sean Penn?
Yeah.
He said that he was terrified by James Franco's penis.
He definitely has big dick energy. There's no questioning that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
We saw, what's her name on Hot Ones we just saw?
Vanessa Hudgens.
Hutchinson?
Oh, the Disney girl.
Yeah, so
yeah.
she was talking about working with him on the Spring Breakers movie.
Yeah.
And that he was like method acting as like a douchebag and like
Yeah.
making girls make out, and like you can only do that with a big dick. If you have a small dick, you can't really pull that off.
So true.
Like I have a regular sized dick, and even I would have to like kind of puff my chest up a little bit just to like
Yeah, I've gotten girls to make out like once, and it was like, do you guys mind?
just to make out with me, bro.
But to be fair, making out's dumb.
Yeah, making out's a little weird.
I disagree. I like making out.
I just started making out again. I'm like, I hate this.
No, I love it.
Like, I want to get to something else.
Making out's only bad if you know if the other person doesn't want to fuck, because then it's like, why are we doing this? I'm giving myself chapped face for no reason. And granted, I don't want to make out so hard to get chapped face, but you know, for the punchline,
You're doing it wrong.
for the punchline. But if you're making out en route to good fucking, I think it's great.
I just want to be done with it. I'm like, let's
The whole thing. You want to be done with the whole thing?
No, they're just kissing, and then
Yeah.
we'll get to
You just want to
fucking.
get to the insertion.
Yeah, and then the fellatio is pretty
Sure.
nice.
So this is my thing with that, because I'm with you. But
Yeah.
even unless you're like a Olympian, like trained, like porn star, you come in like a couple of minutes. Maybe like, let's say like tops like 10 or 12 minutes is like a pretty long time for a guy.
Almost too long.
Yeah. So it's once you start there, it's over pretty quick. You've essentially like entered the final lap when you put it inside something. And granted, I got a couple laps in me. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, the race is not just beginning when my dick enters.
So you're saying you like the kissing like draws it out.
I want to take the whole experience. For example, I don't need to take your clothes off every time, but there's a whole thing about like taking your clothes off is like a step that leads me to the fucking. And if we get to the fucking too fast, we're gonna be done in like 10 minutes, and we're gonna be just relaxing, which is fine. But I'm also on board for the other stuff.
I like it on the back end. I'm a big cuddler. So I'll skip the kissing, we'll have some sex, and then I'm a pretty like cuddly guy.
Not to make this a therapy session, but Jess also isn't into cuddling. So it's like, you know,
I'm not into kissing or cuddling.
It's a rough life out there.
that's what I'm saying. I do the best I can.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm like this.
Fear of intimacy.
Yeah, I think it's definitely partially that. I think it's probably a lot to do with like they say that like your first experience in sex like kind of like mold who you are. And I was definitely like having sex with like quickies like was like my first experience, you know what I mean? So it's like I never had like the make out and the cuddle session during my first few sexual experiences, so I think that's probably what it is.
Makes perfect sense.
It's just like my default is to be like, oh, that's not. And also I find that like it takes me a lot of concentration to come, so it's like I find kissing and like other stuff sometimes kind of distracting, and then it'll take me like, especially for kissing while we're doing stuff, it's just like it's distracting.
That's just,
you know what I mean?
That's just unfocused.
Like, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not a time for kissing. The kissing comes before. Well, your shirt is still on, etc., etc.
Yeah. No.
I'll come in and I'll throw some kisses while I'm fucking, like quick ones here and
Sure.
there. I'll kiss
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm good at. I have a thing that I don't think I'm good at kissing, but I don't know because people are women. No, I'm going to say women, but partners are usually liars.
Of course.
Like if I'm kissing a girl, she's not.
Yeah,
gonna be
you would
like,
never want to tell someone they're a bad
garbage at
kisser.
In the beginning, they're going to say you're good even if you're not. And in
Yeah.
the end, they're going to say you're bad even if you're not. So you're really at no point, the person you're kissing is not really a useful.
You never know the truth.
It's almost like that somebody should start like a service where it's like, hey, we're impartial. We don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
We'll kiss you and we'll tell you. And then you'll find out if you're a good kisser or not.
Then what do you do though if you're bad?
Maybe they coach you. Maybe that's a second service that they upsell you. If you're bad, then they're like, well, now that I'm here, we actually have a service for this where we can teach you how to be a great kisser.
They upsell you.
This is not a bad idea. This is because a guy like me, not now.
Because you
Maybe when I was
you
19.
pointed out a real problem is that the people that you kiss are biased from beginning to end. They're either trying to fuck you or they're done and tired of fucking you. And so you're really never going to get an impartial. And then, you know, in movies where it's like you have a friend who I'll tell you, one of you wants to fuck. That's how the movie always ends. So even that is just only half impartial.
Yeah, no, it's true. You can't do the friend thing.
I'd kiss my guy friends. Maybe they'd be honest, but they're probably looking for something different
On the
than
next
a girl.
episode of
Yeah.
Rich with Dicks.
Yeah, I feel like they are probably
kiss
looking for
Dobsky.
something. So how did the podcast come about? Was that your doing or one of the other guys?
No, we were just the three of us were driving home from a show in Brantford or something, some out of town gig, and then we were just talking about Jason Segel's dick in Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
As you do.
and it's one of the best dicks in any movie. It's a solid.
And is it
hang.
actually his dick?
Yeah, yeah.
Sweet.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you know with everyone that you watch, like,
purist.
do you know whether it's like theirs or you like research whether it's theirs or someone
Yeah, we
else's
figure it
type
out.
thing?
We get down to it.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty. Like, I don't like fake dicks. I think they're kind of cheesy.
You mean like the rubber ones?
Yeah, like Mark Wahlberg in Boogie Nights.
But that was done for a reason,
yeah.
right? They think they're
Yeah.
trying to make like a ridiculous point that this is just like the biggest dick you've ever seen.
But you can't hire an actor with a big dick. It's
The biggest dick you've ever seen? Yeah, no, I think it's a.
dick appropriation.
I'm
Get a
sure
real
there's
big
lots
dick
of
guy.
porn actors.
There's
that
a guy
would,
in
like,
porn
love
right
to-
now. He's like a British dude with like bad teeth, whose dick is so long, it's like startling.
Yeah,
it's
that's
startlingly
not
long.
good.
And he's not horrible look. He's not one of those where he makes they make girls like fuck a monster.
Yeah.
He's like an okay looking guy, just with kind of.
Oh no, I meant you because of the longness. Like it makes
Yeah,
my like,
no,
guts
I would say
hurt.
like,
like
yeah, it's got to be at least.
problem.
I think like 14 inches long.
Oh.
Yeah,
And you know in
he's
porn
a
that
big
they
porn
don't
star
take it
because
easy
he
either.
essentially has had sex with every big female porn star. Like
Yeah.
they've essentially lined him up to have sex with everybody because he's the biggest dick that they found in the talent pool. I can't remember how we got to that, but yeah, big dick McGee in porn. I seen
yeah,
it.
totally.
You know you can get like boob reductions. Like I know you can't. It's not easy to make a big dick bigger, but you could probably get it reduced.
Yeah,
I wonder.
I don't know. I don't think you'd want to.
With 14
I
inches,
feel like
you
it
might
would be
wanna
like
knock off a couple.
like an operation that doctors wouldn't want to do.
He seems to be able to
to
function with it just fine. I think there probably is a man out there whose dick is so big he cannot use it, and it's beyond being a good thing. Did
you ever hear-
the ones in porn I've seen mostly? They seem to function just fine.
Unhung Hero. It's a documentary a guy made. His girlfriend turned him down when he proposed to her because he has a tiny dick.
Is it the micro penis guy? Like the
I don't think he's micropenis. He's just got like a tinier dick.
Right.
So he went around the world trying to find ways to make his dick bigger. And he went to like China, hung out with monks who like hang weights off their dick.
That's hilarious.
He went to in like Japan, they like take your like thigh muscle and like wrap it around your dick. All
did you
kind of
get
crazy
he
stuff.
got like surgeries like done and stuff?
He didn't get anything done. He just went around trying to see if there's anything good because it's all
Right.
kind of nothing.
It's not
really
guaranteed,
works.
yeah, for sure.
And but he interviewed a guy who has the world's biggest dick, and this guy is so sad. He's the saddest man in the world.
Oh no.
He's like, I can't find love. He's like, I got back problems. Like, people like see me walking down the street and they're like, what is in his pants? Like, people are scared of me.
Oh my gosh.
He's a dick expert. It's very impressive.
Yeah, that is super impressive.
Some people, you know, you just got the things you can follow.
I always, a message on this podcast we kind of hit a couple of times with different guests is to really find like your thing.
Find your thing.
Like find the thing that you're good at. And like just like really chase that to the nth degree, like follow it right to the end of the road, and you've really done that with dicks.
It's like that commercial when we were kids. It's like everyone's good at something, and it's kids all doing different things. Yeah, I always wondered when I was a kid. I was like, "What's my thing?" I never knew what it was.
It's things.
Dicks,
bro.
I can put my dick back on. You can't. Fuck safe.
Yeah, speaking of dicks, so after the open mic that me and Ian were both at last night, we started talking about like strip clubs and stuff.
This is the Damp Basement.
This is the Damp Basement, yeah.
Damp Basement Productions.
Careful, that's his show.
No, I'm not mad at it.
It's my sweet. I cultivated it to be a terrible open mic.
Listen, my friend. I have played, I think, all of the bad dive bars in both Canada and the United States. Jess has come back saying things like, well, that venue smelled like pee.
Yeah.
So don't worry. I say nothing from judgment.
The one time somebody went through the wall. Like, we were in a room and somebody from the next room over just like went through the drywall into our room. And I'm just like, someone just walked through the wall. Yeah, like, that's how bad this venue is.
That place smelled like pee. That's why I registered that memory by saying, venue smelled like pee. So yeah, I say nothing with judgment.
They had uncleaned aquariums everywhere, so it might have just been like gross, like dead fish smell. You know,
also could have been pee.
Yeah, it could have been pee too.
Good chance it's pee.
You've seen some of these rooms.
Maybe someone peed in the aquarium.
Yeesh.
I mean, people get drunk; they do weird things.
It's actually more
Goldfish
polite than peeing in like on the floor.
That's true.
Unless there's fish in it. That's rude.
Yeah, that is rude. There was fish.
Oh, then yeah.
So anyway, after the open mic, we were talking about strip clubs and whatnot, and I was talking about, I prefer like female strip clubs over male strip clubs, just like most girls do. And you were like, I performed at this one strip club, and I was like, oh yeah, they do comedy there too. And you were like, no, like, like I like performed, and I was like, oh, like I just assumed it was like a comedy show.
I am performing on a comedy strip night this weekend.
Oh, that's sweet. So that does exist as well.
Does.
But that's not what you were talking about.
You stripped?
I've stripped, and I'm stripping again.
I love it. I love it.
I stripped once, and then this will be my second time. This one is a joke.
So this one, like, it's are you doing comedy and
we do
you just happen to strip as well?
And then we do a strip show after.
That's sweet.
So
hilarious.
Yeah, it helped me.
Do you invite people that you know?
Sure, yeah.
You don't care at all?
All the comedians are going to be there.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I actually think that's like super sweet.
It's not a career for me, but it's something fun.
I'm not sure I understand the demographic
for this week. This weekend, it's a fundraiser for Joanna Downey. She was like a showrunner, comic in Toronto, who's passed away. Now we still just raise money for her and her family.
That's great.
And yeah, it used to be.
So is it kind of like people are going to be like laughing, or they're going to be like?
I hope not.
Super turned on.
I hope I'm turn them on.
I like
Do you have like a theme?
A costume?
I had one planned, and she kind of like popped this on me today.
Will you wear a cock ring?
I'm gonna tie it off probably.
Okay, cool. So yeah, back to the costume.
So that's like old school cock ring.
I'm doing Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest, and so my plan was I still got pulled together, but get a suit and get a werewolf mask. Because Dancing in the Moonlight.
Yeah.
The song, I put my werewolf mask on, and then get naked with just a werewolf mask on.
Wow,
that's sweet. So it's like when you
so
transform into
inspired
the
and
wolf, you also
artistic.
get like all primal and like naked. I like it.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of thought go into it. I dance before I go in the shower, plan things out.
Listen, it seems that there's a recurring theme in your life, and it's dicks.
Yeah, man. Dumb comedian. I don't know much else. I don't talk about politics.
Well, yeah, but you're not just a dumb comedian because you also take your dick out, which is not really like a, usual dumb comedian move.
Yeah, a lot of comedians talk about taking their dicks out.
To be fair, though, even before I ever stripped, I pulled my dick out at comedy shows lots.
Oh, okay, cool.
That used to be like a joke.
Is that how you got into it?
You're
just like,
into which one?
I've taken my dick out on stage a number of times anyways. I'll just do it over here where people do that.
I did for confidence. Just self-confidence. I've always been like a chubbier guy, so like I worked out and ate really well for a while. I still wasn't like amazing looking, but it was better. It made me feel good. And on this one, I got it popped on a couple days' notice, so I'm not gonna be in any shape whatsoever. But
That's hilarious.
It's funny. When I was on your podcast, I meant to ask like one of my questions, but I think we ended up cutting it short because Buddy had to leave. Would you guys like if you were actors or whatever, would you show your dick on camera? I'm gonna guess for you, it's 100%, right?
Yeah.
Would you show your dick on camera?
It's weird.
Like for the art, like not for like
in the abstract, yes. In the existing world, no. Because the existing world is not the abstract. I'm an existing like hip hop artist and singer, and like it would be bizarre for people to Google me and just be able to see my dick.
Yeah, on showing it in a movie is almost like more exposure than like a strip bar. Because at a strip bar, it's like no one's filming it, no one's got their phones out, like.
But let's say in abstract, I'd gone because when I was in high school, I was hell bent on being an actor, like hell bent. If that world had come true, for sure I would have done it, because it doesn't come up that often that you'd be known as the guy who takes his dick out all the time. That's not that doesn't happen in Hollywood. But if it came up, where they're like, when you walk into the room nude, those are almost always great scenes. Yeah. Not always, but almost always it's a great scene. When Kevin Bacon turns around in fucking whatever that Invisible Man movie. Do you remember that movie called
Something Man. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
But where he plays the Invisible Man.
It's like like a thriller. It's kind of like a horror thriller movie.
But it's Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
Almost the opening scene of that movie, he turns around and his dick is there. And I remember thinking like, it was just confident. They opened the movie with this man's fucking flaccid dick.
And it's not like it ruined his career. He's good,
no. And he never had to do it again.
No, he's done it again.
Oh, no, I know, but I'm not saying like it comes up all the time. When he pulled his dick out. Let's get it for this movie.
He's not the dick guy now.
No, Kevin Bacon isn't the dick guy now.
We were going to have a Kevin Bacon day for our podcast.
Has he done a bunch, though?
I think he's done 2 or 3.
I picked the wrong guy. Kevin Bacon is the dick guy.
But still, he's done a lot more movies without dick.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, it's not like it's like...
If
it hasn't like
more movies with their dick out than not, that they're porn stars. That's it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh, man. I wouldn't do that porn. No.
Have you seen Brown Bunny?
Yeah. No.
So do you know who Vincent Gallo is?
No. He sounds like an artist.
Buffalo 66. Have you seen that movie?
Nope.
Okay. Well, anyways, Vincent Gallo is a actor, really weird, like actor director. Kind of like, I wouldn't say B movies, but definitely like cult movies that like not everyone like loves, but like Christina Ricci's in one of his movies. Like it's not like they're like don't have good actors in them and stuff, but yeah, it's definitely
snuff films.
They're definitely weird movies that like only I like and me and a few friends like.
They're kind of snuffy.
But he does a full-on blowjob scene with Chloe Sevigny. You know that actress, Chloe. All right, well I'm missing on all these actors' names, but he does a full-on like blowjob scene, so it's like a pornographic, not just like showing a dick. It's like a full-on like porny scene in a movie. So it's a little bit different than just like flashing a little dick.
So he actually gets his dick sucked.
He gets his dick sucked. I don't think he comes, but he full on like she has like her mouth on his dick, and she's a big actress now. She's in Portlandia, like. She's like, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked her, like, oh, has that, like, ruined your career? And she's like, actually, no. Like, it made people, like, more willing to hire me for artsy things because they know I'm, like, down to do whatever. And, yeah.
I mean, if you do it already, it's not like...
Yeah.
It would be different if it was like him. They're like, Ian, you have to give a blowjob, and I'm like, I've never done that.
Yeah, yeah, or like anal or something, and you'd be like, oh, that's a little bit of a stretch.
That we have porn where it's like really hardcore and like not real and like kind of gross in a lot of ways, and I'm not a big fan of a lot of what happens in porn. And then there's like movies and TV where they can allude to sex, show a nipple, but anything more than that, it's just there's this giant wasteland between like movies.
Yeah.
And then it goes like nothing made in this zone, nothing made in this zone, nothing made in this zone. People like fucking their nieces and their neighbors fucking, you know what I mean? Like nanny porn with sites. But what about a porn where there's like one sex scene? I've never my whole life never seen a movie where there's one like, important sex scene, like where they actually have sex.
Antichrist, William Dafoe has sex.
They actually have sex?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The angle's kind of weird, but you can still see it. There's
they're likely having sex.
Yeah.
And he's got a big old dick.
They show Willem Dafoe's dick. Because that was the one you guys had watched just before. Yeah.
They show his dick get smashed by a piece of wood.
I want to see Willem Dafoe dick. Oh wait, so that's not real then? No, that's not his real dick.
In the fuck scene it is.
Oh, okay.
I assume, she didn't actually hit him in the dick with a piece of wood.
But do you know what I'm saying, though? That there's this, like, divide between, like, regular movies and then hardcore porn.
Yeah,
where like,
not much in the middle.
You'd almost expect that there would be some stuff, like, there's triple X. What's single X look like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's just a regular movie.
Yeah.
But someone gets a blowjob because she's like trying to get the job, and it like makes sense.
I think the reason those don't really exist is because there's like not enough actors willing to like fuck on screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think LA's full of actors.
A lot of dude actors. I don't know about girl actors. It's a little different.
I'm not saying A-listers. I'm just saying no, but Hollywood's full of actors who are talented. Who like that girl. Who would go, I would blow somebody if that was a part in a movie that was otherwise a great film.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think people just don't. I think they want to really establish that they're not porn stars, and so actors wouldn't even want to be in the movie that scene's in. And I understand the why, but it does seem like this like gap. It's just like really hardcore and kind of like it gangbangs, and then there's movies where they go.
Speaking of gaps,
there's like a nipple, and then they roll in the bed, and then they fade to black, and that's fucking.
Well, they tried to do it on Skinamax.
No, yeah,
like they never showed, they never showed insertion in that either.
Yeah, that's kind of. But you know what I mean? Like it's like we almost don't show like a healthy version of sex in anything.
Yeah,
because porn's not really healthy. And don't get me wrong, I'm down to watch it. I'm not anti-porn. And what they show in movies isn't healthy. It's like this like PG-ified. Even in our movie, it's pretty PG-ified. He'll like do this to her or whatever, and then it still fades to black where the camera goes to the wall, and then it's just like that's the sex scene, or they show their feet, and it's like buried in. Even our movies is this like Catholic guilt that we can't show anything even really resembling actual sex. You know what I mean?
Maybe just make porn movies better written.
I'm down for that also. Hey, meet me in the middle, bro.
Yeah.
Movies can be a little less guilty, maybe, and show a little bit more on the adult ones and tastefully. And porn maybe could be a little less, hey, let's gangbang your neighbor because she owes you $20 and make like...
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, no, I'm just combining all my least favorite themes into one. My new favorite one is like, you owe me $60. And she's like, I don't got $60. And she's like, then you're going to have to fuck me. And then like 10 minutes later, he's like double fisting her in the ass. And it's just like
that's worth a little more than
$60, bro. Yeah. It's not even realistic.
Now you owe me $60.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I saw one recently. It was a girl got caught shoplifting. And it was like something small.
Saw it too. I'm not a fan.
Saw it too.
Like, now you gotta fuck me.
There's no way it's the same one, is it?
Probably not, but I can see a mainstream porn that had like that theme of like, gotcha. Guess you're gonna have to fuck me in the ass now. And it's just like, what? No, just call your boss and write me up. I took the fucking lipstick. No sweat.
Yeah, you don't even go to jail for that. You just
yo, listen, you're here. Let me pitch this to you because I've been pitching this to Jess for a long time, and I have no interest in getting into the porn industry, so I'm never gonna get into this. But
I got time.
I feel like if somebody were to start a porn company with the angle of being, we're going to do all the super hardcore porn stuff you love. But instead of just being like, we're going to phone that in and it's completely unrealistic, we're going to set up a realistic scenario that actually happens in the real world where a girl really wants to fuck you like that. And then it's like, for example, it's like actor, male porn star walks in the room, he's a famous actor, and she fucking recognizes him.
People can't relate with that.
No, but you can't really relate to like gangbang your neighbor's maid either.
But everybody has a neighbor, you know what I mean? Not everybody's an actor.
So create a neighbor situation where it's like, I've been flirting with you, and now you're like, she comes up with a bottle of wine. That's a realistic scenario where your neighbor might want to fuck you.
Yeah,
it's just
that
like,
I would agree with. Yeah.
All I'm getting at is like I immediately watch it. I'm like, not only is this unrealistic, but like it's poorly written and poorly conceived. And you're watching the porn star have to be like, I don't fucking know. Like they're like trying to improv to close this ridiculous gap in the plot because it's so horribly conceived. It's just like, blow the bouncer right here at the front door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't get into it. No one blows the bouncer at the door.
I think you are a little bit more like you like your realism in porn than
Isn't that hotter?
I think you just like quality.
No, I like weird stuff.
You want a better story?
If it was an Uber driver and he looked over his shoulder and then she's like, he kind of is hot. And then he like pulls around the corner and he fucks her. I'm like, let's go. That could happen.
Yeah.
That's happening right now somewhere. But no one blows the bouncer at the front door. I can't get into it. Or no one blows the guy behind the fucking banister in the kitchen while the dad's on the other side. This is this other shit.
That's what I mean. I like weird in public stuff.
I know. It's so
not realistic. It wouldn't happen.
So it's almost like I could be someone's porn guru. What's your thing? Your thing is getting away with it and dad's there? Okay, let's create a realistic scenario that could happen. Mm-hmm. You're camping with dad or whatever and he goes in the tent and now you're going to fuck. Because I've done that. And that's realistic, where you're like camping and you can't go anywhere and you wait till the parents are sleeping in the tent and then you fuck them in the sleeping bag
But porn's all about, just to play the devil's advocate, porn's all about pushing boundaries.
Yes.
So you're not going to make it the most realistic. You're going to make it like he's literally on the other side of the counter and I'm talking to him while she's blowing me. You know what I mean? Because that's like the most extreme version of that. That's what porn is.
No, I hear you, because I think it's pushing boundaries sexually, but if the boundary you're pushing is like could ever happen, because that's great, that's one of the boundaries, because the other boundary is like, you know, the sexual liberation of the girl, and there's like we're gonna have two guys fuck her, and then you're gonna have like all the, you know, all the other stuff. You're gonna have someone fuck in front of the husband. That's pushing boundaries for sure. But in each of those scenarios, we could still present something that is reasonably based on
plausible
reality of the planet we live on, and maybe other people don't get off on that. I do, though. I get off when it's like,
I'm sure there's lots
I
of
remember
people
there's
like
one
you.
I saw where this girl was like, there was a big black guy and like a little white girl, and that's not really my thing, but this particular girl was hot. What's her fucking name? She became really famous. Oh, I can't remember, but she became a really big famous porn star later on.
Shoot, Sasha.
I don't remember.
People say I
Maybe.
look like her.
But anyways, the
People
plot.
tell me I look like Sasha Grey all the
A
time.
little bit, and I love it. But the plot was that he was like a famous NFL player, and that she had snuck into his room. And I remember thinking, like, I can still remember it like 5 years later, being like, holy shit, that's the hottest thing I've ever seen. Because that happens all the time, and I got a glimpse into like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's realistic. Girls are like dying to fuck one of those guys.
Yeah.
And that's hot to me, to be like, to see the girl dying to fuck this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus I could go through 1,000 things that I've seen.
We talk about porn a lot on this podcast. I don't know why it happens
No,
all the
let me
time.
tell you why. First of all, I'm pro porn, so I see stuff.
Pro
Two,
porn.
it's a great place to talk about like the world. For example, in the past we've talked about the fact that people like watching shit where they fuck their own parents and what that means and
Yeah,
what that
actually,
says. We've
Ian
talked
has
about
some
feminism a
stand-up
little bit.
last night that I was loving, because we talk about that stuff all the time, like about how like stepdad porn is like or stepmom porn or
So
step
weird.
parent porn
It's
is like
so
the
weird.
number one.
It's so weird that it's blown up.
It's
so crazy.
the number
in this
one.
generation. Yeah.
And then in the States, number 2 is like ISIS porn. It's so fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
But then you think of all different porns and all the different subgenres there are.
Yeah.
Like what you're talking about is definitely a thing that there is a market for, because
You don't see it out there, though.
yeah, and there's people that like tentacle porn. Like I think that more people would be into.
You always say I like tentacle.
Jess likes tentacle porn.
People put hentai and tentacle in the same lump,
You've
and it's
definitely
not.
told me before.
I have watched tentacle porn.
Yes.
It's not my thing, though.
No, I'm not saying it's
I
your
don't watch
main
it.
thing, but you've decided. But have you ever? Let me ask you this question, then we move on.
Yeah.
Have you ever pulled up porn and when you're browsing and settled on tentacles?
I have,
Okay,
but I
that's all we
haven't.
need to know.
I haven't in the past like 5 years, though. It's not my.
Because I haven't.
It's not my thing.
I've never once watched hentai.
No,
It's like the one thing.
that's all I watch.
Because I'm not a cartoon.
Again, fear. I
that's
think this
fair.
is Jess's fear of intimacy. She can't even watch people fuck. She has to like watch
See
like
drawings?
No, it's
like
true.
a
It really,
unicorn and a rainbow.
it really takes.
just
These aren't
merge.
real people. It takes like the person out of it, so you don't have to like feel bad for the girl or whatever.
Jess just
It's
watches like a flower like become like a better flower, and she's like, "Oh, that was nice."
Oh, yeah. That was nice.
And then she doesn't even touch herself. She just like does this like over the surface, like you like she's like detecting
Like gold and
gold. It's like one of those like sticks that detects like water. It's like just that.
I have a stand-up joke about watching Goro from Mortal Kombat porn, and it's not made up. I actually do. I don't regularly, but that's actually
He's
one
got
of
4
the
arms, right?
because he's got 4 arms, so he like holds the girl with the 2 arms, and then
can
he
I
can
ever
do
compete
other
with
stuff
that?
with the other 2
I
arms.
can't compete with that, bro. Look at the 2 arms I got. Look at the 2 that I have right now. In many ways, Goro has like 12 arms compared to me.
You could always try just like sewing on some extra sleeves.
I like where your head's at.
I just see
sew
that
them,
visually.
sew them to my underwear.
Jess, do you want to role play with me as Goro? I'll put on extra
I can
arms.
be Sonya Blade.
Come in.
Can you shave all of your head except for like the middle?
I would
and,
do
like,
it.
Put a little
I
ponytail.
would do it.
See, this is helpful.
Will Smith
This is
did it for
good.
Genie. I'll do it for Goro.
I saw that picture today. It looks weird.
What I love is the internet freaked out. You
Oh,
see
is there
the
a picture? I didn't see
So
it.
look at it. And the internet shit their pants because he's not blue. And then this is what I love though. The internet shit their pants because he's not blue. But then someone wrote on the picture, "How come you're not blue?" And he wrote, "Don't worry, baby. I am blue in the movie. This is just my human form." And that comment, just like a comment on a girl's comment, got screenshotted and posted like it was news. And I'm like looking at like a screenshot of a comment, and it's like, we have come so far where like Disney didn't announce he will be blue. Will Smith just
But he's
commented
not,
on a
though.
comment.
Isn't this a shot from the movie?
That's his human form.
Oh,
when he's in disguise. In
So
most
he-
of the movie, he's CGI and he's blue.
So he'd look more like that. This is just somebody's like rendering of it.
Yeah, if it's the one that you've seen, it's actually by a guy I follow on Instagram because
Yeah,
he did
because
it.
that's the actual
He
picture.
did it 10 minutes after it came out. He CGI'd him blue so that everyone could see what it would look like.
So he's blue. He looks
His name's
like
Boss Logic. I'm a big fan.
Mr. What's his name from Watchmen? Mr. Manhattan.
That's what he looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah, the CGI thing.
So maybe,
Yeah.
for example, that might be what he looks like at the beginning of the movie. You know, when it's like the genie is whatever his name is at the beginning of the movie of Aladdin.
I don't know if they're going to do exactly that.
I'm just saying that's the genie in his human form.
Yeah.
This would be the genie in his human form. I'm not
Right.
saying they're going to do exactly
Right.
that. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't work at Disney. I didn't sneak off to do this podcast
I'm so
from my
excited
day job at
to
Disney.
see the new Lion King movie. We've watched the trailer twice, and I cried both times. It's like you think I would stop crying, but like it's just like shot for shot, exactly like. Did you watch it?
No,
Yeah, it's just basically shot for shot, like exactly like.
He's actually anti-Disney.
The cartoon.
He'd rather we stop talking about it right now.
Yeah, Walt Disney was a Nazi. I like Disney, but I just don't.
do you feel about
Remakes and
Nazis?
stuff. Remakes and stuff I'm not into.
Why?
No?
There's so many. I'm just like, let's put new stuff out. Let's make new. I'm not a big person who cares about my nostalgia being
Yeah, I'm with
re-brought to
that.
me so I could re-buy it.
Yeah,
like
I'm
I've
with
already
that.
bought in all these movies multiple times. DVD,
Yeah.
VHS.
I don't think that applies.
Yeah,
to
I already
these
have a hard
Disney
enough
ones.
time letting go.
Because let me make this argument. They're doing us a service in a way, because don't get me wrong, they're going to make $1 billion. I know why they're doing it. But in a way, because Lion King at some point will be hard to watch. As time passes, it's like that. You try to watch those old like Mickey Mouse when he's like whatever Mr. Tugboat Man.
Willie.
You're like, I can't.
Steamboat Willie.
Tugboat Man.
Tugboat Man.
I can't watch that shit. Don't tell me how classic it is. I can't watch that shit. And so I'm not mad at them updating it if they do it well and they fucking tick all the boxes and it's not easy to do. You got to capture the same emotion and make it way more real and like I'm with it. The previous ones they've done, Beauty and the Beast is not for me, but I liked it. I think they did a really cool job with it. And at a certain point, these kids are not going to want to watch a two-dimensional, poorly drawn cartoon. They're going to be like, have you seen what's out now, fam? And Disney's like, fam, we got you. We're going to make some of those. So I like it. But a lot of remakes, I agree with you. Ghostbusters was completely fucked up. And not because of women. I'm pro do it with women. It just wasn't, it just was phoned in. It just didn't feel like...
Did you hear they're doing Men in Black now with that
looks awesome.
with what's her name again?
Women in Black.
Tessa Thompson and Chris
Thompson.
Hemsworth and Liam Neeson. It's called Men in Black International. It's basically Men in Black 4, but like a different office with different agents. Looks pretty good. But what I said to Jess on that one is, make more sequels. I'm about it. Because she was like saying how hyped she was to watch it. But you have a big job ahead of you because those are great movies. The first and the second, mostly the third less. But it's an easy one to miss because there's a lot of things you need to do before I'm going to be like, great Men in Black movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Mission, what's it called? Independence Day 2, that came out 15, 20 years later. They have way more special effects. There's so many great actors. Independence Day 2 was like a direct-to-VHS movie from the old days. I can't even believe they put it in theaters. It was horrible. Independence Day 1 is one of the greatest space action movies of all time.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're going to resurrect a movie 20 years later, it's just a big job. You got to hit the first tone. You know what I mean? You can't just come back and be like, the last one was an 8 out of 10. We got a solid 1.8 for you. And it's just like, you wish you wouldn't. bro.
Average out to like
I
a
really
5.
wish you wouldn't have and just left us with the first one.
Men in Black, they could do it pretty good though, because now that I'm thinking about it, the CGI and stuff is way better.
Yeah.
The aliens are gonna look sick.
And that universe they created, it's almost like, because I'm a big Men in Black guy. When I was a kid, I loved it. Like they created that little universe, and then if they never make another one, it just kind of like fizzles away. I would love more movies in that, like where aliens are around.
Yeah, I
and
think
when they cut around, and the,
that's
guy,
okay.
the hot dog cart is the alien on the side, and I love that
Yeah.
shit. That was fun, and no one else.
Yeah,
can really
especially
do that.
when a universe is so big like Star Wars or whatever. I think it's fine to create like spin-off storylines of like other parts of that universe. And I feel like Men in Black is kind of, even though it's on Earth, it's kind of like that same thing where it's like there could be so many different stories of it. Why not tell like the international one of
Yeah.
like the Europe division of Men in Black or whatever, you know?
Everything comes with big red text at the bottom that says, "But if you start making hacky, corny movies, of course all bets are off."
Yeah.
But am I open to them even potentially being like, "Oh, we also have this other Men in Black story. It's this other thing. It's like this like origin story." I'm about it. But Don't phone it in and don't make it hacky and corny. Actually spend some time, write a fucking interesting movie. That's why everyone loves the X-Men movies, because even though they made a trillion of them, when Logan came out, it's an interesting take on the franchise. They continue to write those movies pretty well, and I keep going back to watch them. Speaking of which, I recently saw something in it when we were in LA, and I thought it would be fun to talk about because we're big movie buffs. I think you watch a fuckload of movies. Do you watch a lot of M. Night Shyamalan stuff?
I go in and out of watching M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay, so there's a movie of his called Unbreakable. Did you ever see that?
Yes. I saw it.
And then there's a movie that came out called
Split. Yeah.
where they drop on you at the, spoiler alert, end of the movie that it's sort of in the same universe as Unbreakable. While we were in LA, there was an epically big billboard that says the Glass movie's coming. And what it occurred to me is happening is I think M. Night Shyamalan, he kind of took a break for a second there, and he came back and essentially has created what Marvel has.
Yeah.
Was instead of, because he's like, there is no other ones, Marvel and DC, and they both like just making $1 billion a year each or more. I think more now for Marvel.
Especially you put
It's
in merchandising.
crazy. And so M. Night was like, fuck doing these one-off movies that may or may not work. I'm going to build a Marvel universe. And I'm going to do it without you even realizing it. I'm just going to put out 2 movies. You'll love them both. And then they'll just link. And then I'll do with a third one. And before you know it, you just don't know. Any M. Night Shyamalan movie could just be in this Marvel universe he's creating.
I love it.
You saw
and it's really smart and really interesting.
You saw the billboard? Did you see the trailer?
I haven't seen it yet.
Trailer came out this weekend.
Okay,
I'm
happy to
I saw
watch
that
it.
first.
Yeah, we have to watch.
And I'm not like a M. Night like Stan or anything. M. Night Stanalan. I'm not an M. Night Stanalan.
M. Night Shyamalan.
No, you know what Stan is?
Stan, like the end of Tajikistan or Kazakhstan.
No. So in internet culture, a stan is like a super fan who will die.
like
Eminem's like
Yeah,
stan.
yeah,
So you say
yeah.
you stand for something. It's like you're like die all like super fan for something.
Yeah, now I'm picking up what you're putting down now.
Yeah, so I'm not an M. Night Stanalan is my fucking shitty pun that I had.
Yeah,
to,
it's really bad.
live on. It was good in the moment, but then having to explain it to this fucking
Should we talk a little bit about our LA trip and what we did in LA?
Yeah.
pretty
I saw your pictures.
fucking epic.
Yeah, it was pretty epic.
So this is, let me just set it up as we've been out, like, I think it's our 6th time, my 6th time, your 4th or 5th time. And normally what I do is I go out and I fly into San Diego and I play shitty little shows that I love, but like little shows from like San Diego up the coast, and then I fly home from like San Francisco. And as much as I love it, and it was a dream to do my entire life, you don't really get to enjoy California when you're like driving every day to go to the next city. It's just like you're constantly like, oh, what a fucking great place. Hey, come hang out tomorrow at the beach. Can't. On to the next city. And then the most time we've ever spent in LA is 3 days, and which we kind of hover for 3 days on purpose so we can kind of kick it, go see some comedy. So I said, like, we just got married, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go out for some time and just kick it in one place and like see people we know and love, go see some comedy.
You didn't book any shows.
I didn't do any shows. We just like relaxed
Straight
and did
vacation.
like, and I went, I mean, not straight, because I booked a studio session. I shot a music video. We did a photo shoot, but for us, that's enjoyable stuff. And I wasn't just doing gigs the entire time. You know what I mean? And like, because when I do gigs the entire time, it pays for the trip, which is great. But when I was just like, fuck it, let's pay for the trip, not do gigs, and like enjoy all the other stuff that we don't get to do. So that's my little setup for why this one was cool.
I'm going to talk for a second before we get into what we did in LA, just because you brought up the photo shoot and the video shoot that we did. We talk a lot about marketing on this podcast and like how to better market yourself.
This is Marketing Minute.
Actually, Anthony is the marketing guru. I just...
But she spends a lot of time with me, so she picked up some gems along the way.
Exactly. But we booked a photo shoot. We searched the hashtag, Hollywood photographer? What did we search?
We didn't do anything. I searched the hashtag.
Okay, maybe you should tell the story.
No,
then.
I like when you pick me up. Hollywood photographer.
Yeah. And basically found a photographer who's willing to work for a super reasonable price, send us all the photos. And I just really recommend that it's something that like people do often, whether you're an artist, whether you're a comedian or whatever. Like, because it's like... a lot of people are just like, oh, how do I better market myself? And really like getting like professional photos is like one of the ways you can do that. And it's so cheap because everyone has a camera now. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you go somewhere like LA, like it looks so cool. Like we look so cool, right? That we're like doing these photo shoots in LA. So I just say, if you're, a struggling artist out there, struggling comedian, struggling band member, struggling singer, I think you should just, wherever you go, whenever you go on a little vacation, spend one of those days, doing a quick little photo shoot. Find someone on Instagram because people hashtag that shit like crazy.
Yeah.
and you should take full advantage.
I love it. What great rant.
Especially here in Canada, you just get a photo from a palm tree.
Oh,
And people are like, whoa.
it's worth extra.
Yeah.
It's worth double.
Totally.
That guy's, he's in Hollywood.
That's such a
making
thing.
it.
Yeah.
He saw a palm tree.
That is the definition of making it.
Yeah.
But even let's say it's not. So for example, when I did my Midwest tour, I had a couple days off in Omaha, Nebraska, because there's a dope young artist there I know. So I kicked it with him for a couple, like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday run. You can't really book good shows. And I booked a photo shoot through a photographer there in Omaha, Nebraska. It's not an exotic destination, but it's a different place with a different vibe. And of course, every photographer has their own different flex too. So there's always that aspect to it. And those photos are some of the best pictures of me ever taken. And for a piece of this year, they were my favorite thing to like put on the internet when I was announcing a gig or doing anything. You know what I mean? It was like great photos. And so it doesn't always even need to be LA. So funny enough, I reached out to Hollywood photographers and a bunch hit you back. Some of them charge way too much. Some of them are dickheads. But then always in the group is a couple people who are like cool as fuck and are like $50 an hour. And you're like, shit, I only really need 2 or 3 hours. And that's totally affordable.
And even if being like sexy like isn't your thing.
No.
You can hire go to McDonald's with a photographer and get them to take like really dope pictures of you like eating a Big Mac. If you're like a comedian or whatever.
Yeah.
Even we have a partner, Meyer Clarity, who's he's a producer and a rapper and an awesome artist, and he's a little bit more like punk rock, a little more edgy. He'll like take photos with like a shirt on his head and like with him like choking himself with some string lights and like just different like weird things like that, but they look so dope and are so good for like his branding. So it's like even if you're like more silly, I feel like you could still like photo shoot it up, you know what I
I feel
mean?
like you guys are talking to me because I haven't had new photos. Listen, I had long hair last time I got new photos.
This isn't the pitch to you. It's just to like all the struggling artists that we know, you know what I mean? Like
So pretty often, because I'm the fucking asshole who gives my opinion on everything, artists will hit me up and be like, how do I get my music's not getting that many streams? Almost always in the 2 or 3 things I tell them to do is take good photos of you. Take good photos of yourself, because people like, for example, I'm seeing you right now. Let's say I am talking to you, because I wasn't. I've never been on your Instagram. But let's say I was. You're a pretty good looking guy. I'm in the room with you right now.
Thank you.
I'm not going to lay my actual physical eyes on you again. Probably for a little while. I will come out and I'll end up seeing you at some comedy show or something. It's like, what's up? Or maybe I'll come be on the podcast. I'd love to. Yeah. But I just invited myself. But I'm not going to lay my physical eyes on you again for a little while. But let's say you take this advice and you start booking photo shoots at various points over the next 6 months. I'm going to be like, fuck, homie looks good. And that's the version that I kind of start to lock in my mind, is this guy that I've seen in these really great photos. So it happens a lot where people who like, I'll get to a music conference and they're like, hey, it's Illy. And it's like, I'm glad that they know who I am. It means they've been looking at really great photos of me for like, because I don't post shitty photos of myself. And a lot of the time I'm like unshaved. I got my fucking thick glasses on and my haircut's coming up. I'm starting to bald. But that's not what I put on Instagram. And I'm not one of those like fake. I'm a pretty authentic dude. But I just mean good photos of you. That's what people think when they're like, oh, I love Ill Vibe's new song. And then in their mind, they pull up an image of you. It's that great photo of you they think, that they see. You know what I mean? They're not going to think of you.
Not a blurry memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's actually awesome.
I just think there's something to that where it's like, so just, show them you.
I think sometimes, I guess the reason I wanted to bring it up, because I feel like sometimes like my friends or whatever, like feel like it's like this intangible thing where we go to LA and we do these photo shoots. It's like, dude, it's so easy. Like we literally just like look on Instagram for like LA photographers who are just like, you know, coming up like in the scene, you know what I mean? It's just like, and we book them for super cheap. And
to add to that,
awesome.
just because it's a good segue into talking more about LA, I also booked a music video not a director, but like a videographer
from the same thing,
from the exact same way. And it's astonishing. So in my career, I've paid up to like $5,000 for a music video. It's one of the more expensive things in your career. You just have to eat the cost. It's just a thing that happens. It's like
invest in yourself.
Yeah, you know, I make enough money on my music usually to pay for the cost of making the music, but to pay for the music videos, nah, that comes out of like passion budget. That's just like, hey, I'm gonna go look awesome in this video. I'll pay $1,000, $1,500, and that's even pulling favors and like kind of leveraging my little bit of a name to kind of get it for $1,000. It's really hard to do. So we're out in LA, and so I find this guy on Instagram, Drew Kochak. He's fucking super talented, and he's like, yeah, $50 an hour. I'll come out and film you. 4K camera, drone, glide cam. And we shot easily one of the best music videos we ever shot for like $250. And then I rented a sports car, a 2017 Ford Mustang convertible with like a racer stripe off of an app called Turo for $48.
Jesus.
It's an app basically like Airbnb for cars. So you just like rent someone's car. They have it here in Toronto too. And so I just rented a car for $48. And then, so now we're up at $300. I had to put $20 gas in it, so $320. And we made like this crazy video where it's like me like leaned up against this sports car, which is totally not even my thing usually, but it's like the song's kind of about flexing and like showing off a little bit. And then Jess is like in the back of the sports car, and I was just like, this is so funny that we spent less than $400 for the most flexiest video we've ever made. We've spent double that to make a stripped down walking through the cold streets video. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So yeah, it was just really it also, if you're an artist or a rapper, and some of our listeners are from my illustrious days of playing dive bars, it's a really interesting way to even shoot music videos, is like find some guy on Instagram and you're like, hey, you want to make $50 an hour for 4 hours?
Do you think that's the LA hustle, or do you think you can do that in Toronto now too? With like how, because I was thinking when you said $5,000, like what year was that?
Well, probably the most money ever would have been me and Meyer together. So for probably 4,000, and that would be a year and a half ago.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because I was thinking that technology is getting so crazy. Like I know even sketches and stuff you can shoot for dirt cheap now.
Yeah.
But that included like cast and locations, and that's the whole thing, right? It's like makeup artists and.
Have you ever shot a special before?
I shot something for like Rogers Brampton like a long time ago. But it wasn't any of my money. It was just something I got asked to be in.
Oh, so you didn't like shoot like the Ian Fergus special?
I which is a good thing I'm here with you guys. I'm one of the worst at marketing, and it's a thing that I've been trying to like get better at, because I hate looking at myself and listening to myself, which is a bad thing to do as a podcast or comedian.
Yeah.
Do you listen back to your podcast episodes?
Sometimes. I'm trying to like force myself to do these things.
We don't really listen back often.
I don't. Well, I edit it, so I have to listen a little bit while I'm editing it.
And I'm the one who chooses usually the 1 minute clips that go on Instagram. Sometimes Jess does that. And that requires obviously some listening back to it. But we don't listen tons. So for example, I slur and stutter a little bit, and I hate it. I'm very self-conscious about it. So when I listen and I hear it, I just did it there. I get really bummed out about it. So I don't like listening either. But it just doesn't get in the way of the marketing, because I just don't listen to the whole episode. I listen to enough to accomplish the marketing tasks. Marketing is about discipline, because when we do an episode, the next day, the last thing I want to do is cut all the fucking trailers for the episode, write the thing, come up with a funny title for the episode. There's like 13 important things, and Jess has to edit it, which isn't as funny based, but you still like the time that has to go into every episode. And it's just like, that's the last thing I want to do, but it's the only way to grow the episode. You know what I mean? It's like to make all these little vehicles that are going to get people listening, because right now we have like, I think 500 listeners. It's not a lot, but we have like 10,000 people check that 1 minute clip, that because we sponsor it on all social media. It's like, this is a good example of what our podcast is about, and it's like, great. So part of me goes, well, I only have 500 listeners, so I like that we have these little 1 minute moments where we can shine and kind of be funny for even 60 seconds. And that's reaching, 50 times that number of people or 10 times that number of people. I'm not doing.
And every person looks at that who doesn't click on to download your episode, that's one person closer to a yes. It's going to.
Totally.
Here in Canada in particular, for a long time, I would say this, like, if you're always promoting your music, and let's say you have like whatever, 5,000 people or 10,000 people, a year hear about you in some regard, how many years before you've reached a significant enough, although small percentage of the country, that it like matters, that like people start going, oh, I know, I've heard of that guy. Oh, I've heard of that guy. And then out of nowhere I started hearing, Ilva, I've heard that name before. And it's like, of course you have. It's been 15 years and I've been broadcasting from this place. I've reached like 20 million people. At some point, somebody has heard of me. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think that applies to everything. It's like, if you do a good job of amplifying, it's like, Canada's not that big, bro. No. People eventually go, there's 10,000 comedians or 1,000 comedians or whatever. And it's like, great. So if you're a guy who makes noise every day, at some point you become the 180th comedian that they've heard about, which isn't nothing. It's like you start to get up in those numbers, and I made a real career to being not famous enough anyone knows me, but enough that like people will pay me to do stuff. And it's like, that's the fucking the name of the game.
See, it doesn't take much for us to go on like a marketing rant, and I think it's because we're both like very like interested in it. Like, it's like interesting to me of like what makes something pop, and like, you know what I mean? Like what, you know what I mean?
See, you say marketing, and I almost like, because I agree and I love marketing, but I almost feel like some people might just rub it off as like, oh, marketing is like business and like math, but it's also just like the psychology of how you make people give a fuck about this thing you do.
Totally. That's exactly what marketing
that's
is,
the shit that I care about.
Which I say I'm a bad marketer, and I took marketing. I went to school.
What school did you go to that other people should not go to?
Niagara College.
Oh
my hometown.
Niagara on the Lake campus.
People should just avoid going to school in Niagara. In
I went for
general.
a year and I got kicked out. So
Okay, so that might actually turns out they actually might have great standards.
You got kicked out? I feel like there might be more of a story there.
well, academic suspension for 2. I got like 2 credits.
Right.
I didn't
So
go.
you didn't really go.
No, I thought I wanted to go to school. I wanted to just go party. And I had a good time. When I got arrested, I did all kinds of.
This
fun
was
stuff.
a young burgeoning
Wow,
Flicks with Dicks
Niagara.
podcaster. So
Yeah. This was right before I really started getting comfortable pulling my dick out. I guess I think college is what opened me up. That college
Literally.
experience.
So back to LA stuff.
Yes.
So we were there for what, 7 days?
Yeah.
And we went to comedy shows, what, like 5 out of the
5
7
out of
days?
7 days.
We didn't really plan that, but like when you were thinking
we
like
planned 3.
yeah, we planned 3, and then we're just like, what do you want to do tonight? It's like we can go to a bar, and we were also there by ourselves. So it's like we can go to a bar and buy really expensive drinks in LA and then maybe shoot some pool, which we did the one night and it was really fun.
Yeah.
But it's just like after that, you're kind of just like, well, what do we do now? You know what I mean? So we're just like, comedy's like always like a jam-packed night where it's like you're there for hours, you know what I mean? And then you can leave the comedy store or leave the show at the comedy store and go hang out in the bar at the comedy store. So it's like it really is just like a night that has like everything, you know what I mean? Like you can order food while you're there. I'm like marketing for the fucking comedy
No,
store
I
right
love
now.
it. So I apologize to you, sir, because I hate name dropping in front of people, and normally our After LA episode wouldn't have anybody here, but I'm really glad you're here.
Yeah.
But so we met Bobby Lee, and we're really big Bobby Lee fans.
Oh yeah, no, we have to take that.
Oh yeah. So probably Jess and I's favorite podcast right now is Tiger Belly. Have you ever listened to it?
Yeah.
Fucking love
Bobby
it
Lee
so
and his
much. And Kalila.
wife. Or
Yeah, basically. And so we met Bobby Lee. I'm not kind of working backwards. He's the last person that we interacted with at the store, but
Yeah, he's the one that we like. He's
Yeah.
like the big one for us because it's just like we listen to their podcast all the time.
totally. I'm going to mention the others as well. I should have started at the beginning. But
Yeah,
I'll start
no,
at the
of
end.
course.
So Bobby Lee. So we go. It's actually the last night that we're there, and essentially Jess is like, "Do you want to go see comedy again?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know." Like we went 4 out of 6 nights. Like, and then we look. It's like Bobby Lee's on tonight, and we love him. And we've never seen him. He's on pretty much on the top of our bucket
Yeah,
list.
the
of
funny part
comedians.
is like he's like our favorite podcast to listen to. Neither of us have ever seen him live, either live or even a special of his. He doesn't
Yeah,
really do
'cause I don't think he's
specials,
done
right?
specials yet.
Yeah, so it's just like we've never seen him live.
So we went
in
and
any
saw
capacity.
him. Got great seats. Whoa, Cal's freaking up. Callie, relax.
I think that was me.
And then he gets off stage. He was fucking phenomenal. And then I said, just like, you want to go outside? If we're going to meet him, this is pretty much our only shot to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
So we go out the back door. And he's there. He is. He's hanging out. He's talking to Red Band, who we know, and some other people. And then he's whatever. Jess is like, hey, and we said hi to him. And then motherfucker was so nice. He like almost wrestled me to the ground and like kind of made me uncomfortable because he's like a celebrity and he put me in like kind of like he was pretending to be like some kind of karate move and like I just kept being like I don't know how to react because it was really funny. And
And then he
like,
says he doesn't take pictures with whites. And
yeah, he
said
wanted
that
to know
I'm
what kind
native.
of whites we were before he took pictures with us. And then when he finally agreed to take pictures, he's like, let's go find some good lights. And he walked with us to go find some good light somewhere. And it's just like to meet one of your favorite comics, and
Yeah.
we're like diehard.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
5 out of 7 days in LA at the store. It tells you a lot about. We're like uber fans. That's all we fucking
Yeah.
talk about. And then to see him. We were already like, fuck, that set off the trip. And then to meet him, and then for him to be like, let's go find some good fucking lighting. It was just really badass. And
Yeah,
so,
it was super
It's
awesome.
a really good experience.
So one thing that I wanted to bring up about our favorite comedians and the comedy store and stuff, and to see your point of view on it, was we saw Chris D'Elia, and we saw him 2 times.
By the way, I think it's D'Elia.
D'Elia?
Yeah.
I always say Delia.
Yeah.
Anyways, we saw Chris D'Elia. And he was amazing. We saw him the first time, and then he came up and did like the banter kind of roast with Brian Callen. It was really, really cool. And then we saw him a second night, and he did it was like literally the next day or whatever. And so he did like the same set. No, I'm good. It was like literally like word for word. And I was
breath for breath.
breath for breath, and even like he would do like an awkward laughing thing in between certain lines, and it was just like it was so memorized, you know what I mean? And it actually made me feel really good because that's the one thing that I've been super self-conscious about in comedy is that I'm not very good at like on the fly, and I know I need to get more loose and I need to like just go up way more and stuff and like get more like if somebody interrupts in the audience, I need to be able to like banter with them and make up things on the fly, which I do need to get better at. But the fact that his is just so memorized. It made me feel good because I was just like, oh, like, so there is such thing as a famous comedian who 100% memorizes their set. I was just wondering, like, how much do you memorize? What do you think about that?
I get the same thing as you, where I'll be on stage and I can feel myself when I click into like an autopilot, where I'm like, I know how to. This is how I say it. This is what I'm doing. It's the exact same. And then sometimes I feel guilty about it, but then that's also, if I'm going to be putting on a good show, I got to say it the perfect way.
The perfect way, yeah.
I figured
That's
out.
what I always worried about too, is that if I start going too like improv-y, that I'll ruin a line that kind of leads to the next line. Do you know what I mean? And then it won't be as funny.
Yeah.
I think there are definitely comics on both ends of the spectrum.
Definitely. Oh, for sure. Like Bobby Lee, I'm sure his is mostly improv.
And he's got like the punchlines are, he knows what the punchlines are in order, but he just does like, because so much of it is physical too. He's like looking at the audience and like being weird. It's like he just, I'm sure that's a little bit different every time he does it. You know what I mean? It's like this awkward moment. I think he just goes, insert awkward moment here. Yeah. And then make fun of crowd member and then make the punchline. You know what I mean? Versus
totally.
Chris D'Elia, it was, or Chris, you got me saying it now. Chris D'Elia, it was breath for breath.
And I love him. Like, that's not taking away anything from him. If anything, it made me like
the other comic
super
we saw
like
2 nights in a
inspired.
row was Harlan Williams, who did some of the same jokes. He was great, bro.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was made up.
Oh yeah, totally.
So he does a thing where this doesn't give away his act, where he basically says like that for no reason that the crowd is distracting him. He'll be like, "Hey, don't drink your wine. I'm trying to do my show here, sir." Like that type of thing. So both nights, I thought Jess was like, he's probably going to do a lot of the same stuff. He did that,
but it was all different.
All the material was different.
Yeah.
And he had about how somebody had like stinky balls, and it was totally different than the previous night. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. He's somewhere in the middle where he does do that as his thing. Yeah. But every night he keeps that fresh. You know what I mean? And that's quite cool.
I get it. I feel bad about doing the same set because you hear like comedians are the ones who will bash on you because they're always out. And as a comedian,
there's a lot of comedians at y'all shows at the stage,
and we're also aware that like we think that everyone has seen us this many times.
Yeah.
But the audience has never seen you before, so they don't know if I'm going into autopilot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But then because comedians and self-esteem and that's when people start feeling insecure about doing the same jokes.
Yeah, definitely. What I'm trying to work on right now is not sounding like Miss Maisel or like a comedian from the 50s. Like, you know what I think about this? Well, this is da-da-da. Like, it's like very like, you know what I mean?
Through your material. Thank you very much, folks. It's been a good night. I'm got it. I gotta get home to my kids. I got other bits.
Yeah, you want to get rid of a little bit of the rhythm, I think, because the rhythm sometimes makes it a little bit too like it's sounding like scripted.
I think that's practice.
You know?
Again, I'm not a comic, but having played 1 trillion music shows over the years, I think that's practice because it's just like at a certain point, obviously with music, you do it exactly the same every time, but you get to a point where like I can just autopilot the words, and now what I'm in control of is just the delivery changes every time. Yeah. So sometimes I'll kind of like come real down low on this part, and other times I'm like fully doing it, and sometimes I'm dancing, and sometimes I'm not, and I change those things up based on how busy the crowd is, how much they're dancing, and yet all that is like a psychology game I'm playing, almost like a comedian would do. But the words essentially don't change. I got those down to and the kind of melodies, I got that down to a fucking science. But yeah, you change up the delivery, or if you're going to engage this like super fan in the front or like super drunk guy in the corner, because that's the thing that happens all the time is when I'm performing, there's a drunk dude who's very enthusiastic, and it's like just like with a comedian, if I address him, I get points, and so it's like I'll replace a lyric in the song with a reference to the fucking drunk guy, and the place goes there is a drunk guy in the front row who's distracting us all right now. And it's just like, that's so similar to comedy.
I've been feeling that recently, that now when I go into autopilot, I start, instead of worrying that I'm in autopilot on like the joke that I know, I start trying to do other things. Like because I perform at the Corner Comedy Club. It's a small club with a really small stage.
I wanted to go.
Is that the one at like Queen and McCall?
There's 2 of them.
Queen John, and then there's one at Queen Carlisle too. But that
one's close to us.
Both of them
into a bit.
Both of them have really small stages, so I don't move around a lot on them. And then now when I'm at other clubs, when I go into autopilot, I'm like conscious about move around a bit, walk here, walk there, do this with your hand. Yeah. Once you're in autopilot, not worrying about what you're going to say, you start worrying about the other little nuances.
Yeah, exactly. You try to sell it now. You're like, now that I think these are the right jokes, and this is the right wording of the jokes. It's like step 1, step 2. You know, these are the right order of the jokes or whatever. Step 3, and then it's like, okay, great. Now what are the little things that I do that sell it? Yeah. In my intro, my body language, my projection, my pronunciation. Do I over-pronunciate? Do I under-pronunciate? I think in a lot of ways that's just like stage like psychology almost. Yeah. It's like you're just commanding a room.
So while you guys are getting super high, another comedy question for you is: Do you get high before performing, or do you stay super sober?
Yeah, I do it all. Sorry, Ash, on the table.
Oh, yeah,
Do you ever worry about like? Well, I guess you're probably like him, like where you're like an avid weed smoker and smoke all the time. But do you ever worry about like doing the same joke twice, or like these are the things that I would worry about if I got way too high? Imagine just doing it like word for word twice in a row. Like that's what like terrifies me.
In
like
multi-show nights, that's definitely something that I always worry about, especially if it's the same
Keeping
club.
them distinct in your mind.
Yeah, you're like, I've told this joke tonight.
That doesn't happen with me in music, but yeah.
has that happened to you?
I've never told the same joke twice. The only thing that's happened to me high is this was like early on comedy. I was at a weed room in Hamilton, and I was doing my set, and I was about a minute into my set, and then somebody walked by the back of the room just with their phone on, and I thought I was getting the light. And I was like, man, that 5 minutes really flew by.
That's
so
funny.
you did like just like 1 minute.
And then I got off, and the host, he like came back after. He's like, what the fuck?
That's funny, bro.
I was like, I thought I got lit. He's like, it was a minute. You told one joke and got off stage.
Wow, that's funny.
Should I say what that is for listeners, or do you think people mostly know what that is?
Go. I mean, you might as well give it
So the getting lit, yeah, it's like when basically like the host of the show like flashes their cell phone at you from the back so that you know that you're like almost done or whatever.
They give you a minute left.
Yeah, yeah, they give you a minute left, not literally just
That's
1
been my
minute.
time.
Yeah,
Sure, there's been
like you just introduced yourself and you're like, wow, that flew by.
There was one comic at the store who played really, really stoned off his ass, and it affected his performance. Did you notice? And can you think of who it is or no?
Was it Theo?
Can I guess? Oh.
No, it
No.
wasn't.
Can I guess who it is without knowing the lineups?
No, yeah.
Just LA comics, really stoned off their ass.
Stoned off their ass.
I want to say Red Band first, but
No, it wasn't Red Band.
this is like off their regulars nights.
Tony?
No. You're in the right universe, but no.
Joe Rogan.
No. Okay, I mean, this is getting.
The guy who hosts Roast Battle.
Yes,
Yes.
Brian Moses
Yes.
really?
was like so high, his eyes were like visibly red from a distance and closed, and his whole set was slow and disconnected. And
It was
it was
disjointed,
just
yeah.
like. And I've been there too on this podcast even where I get too stoned and I feel myself getting slow and a little disconnected and I'm not being as sharp and on as I should be, and he just wasn't. The jokes were funny, but it just felt slow and like the crowd was laughing late, he was reacting to them late. It just didn't have that magic.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, note to self, because my thing is I'm a rapper, I'm a singer, but when I'm on stage, I mean, you're in a room with me now. I'm like, I do a lot of like banter and crowd work while I'm up there, just because I'm like not in a rush to do the next song. So I'll like fuck with especially if it's like half empty. I make fun of myself and like, so I'm always just like, be careful, don't get so stoned that's bad.
Yeah.
Because right now it's good. People love it. They're like, oh, I love how you do that at every show. It's different or whatever. But I see him go and I'm like, oh, that was kind of slow and bad. And I'm like, I smoke a lot of weed, and so I would hate to be. I wonder how many times that happened, because I'm sure I'm not fucking completely free of it. I smoke at every show. But yeah, warning to self and kind of note to self, don't be that guy.
Totally.
I perform at a lot of pot clubs, so I've kind of learned a good way to be, like a good stone to get.
Yeah.
Like I don't hit a
How
bong.
to manage the two situations.
Never hit bongs before a set.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that would be a terrible idea.
But the funny thing about the pot club, the underground comedy club, it used to be called Clandestiny, and LA guys will talk about it a a lot. But they come and they get fucked.
And is that the Queen
Tony
and Broadview
Hinchcliffe?
one?
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe greened out. I don't know if he puked, but he like almost passed out.
That shit happens to me too.
Doug Benson got too high.
Wow.
Yeah, the stories.
Yeah, because you don't need to smoke weed even when you go there, right?
No,
It's just
no,
like
you'll
you're just high.
Yeah. It's a bit better now. Now I like it. It's my favorite of the pot clubs because it's the oldest of the audiences. Like people tend to be like late 20s to 40s.
Yeah.
And it's not like 18 to 20-year-old kids that are smoking dabs and they get way too high and then they pass out in the audience. It's like people who are all relatively decently stoned.
Sure.
And I figured a good stone to get as well, and we vibe really well.
I enjoy weed shows. Don't get me wrong. I'm not completely against. And like I said, I smoke before every show. I love performing stoned. But yeah, it was just interesting. I saw him and I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
note to self, you know.
Do you ever feel like, because weed like affects your memory just in general as well, do you ever feel like worried that you might like accidentally like steal a joke or like something like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, because like I sometimes think that like, oh, I thought of this really cool thing, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe I heard that somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
I worry about that all the time when I'm writing anything. It's like I'm worried that I don't
remember
taking
where
that
my
from something.
thoughts come from.
But I've gotten pretty good at now. Great, I don't write jokes, so that's harder. But I've like I'll search the thing on Spotify, the title, the name, to make sure it's not a thing that I saw somewhere. I'll Google it, and then sometimes I'll check it on Facebook. And if I can't see any sign of it anywhere that rings a bell, I go, the likelihood that nowhere on the internet has heard of this phrase. For example, like I'll write a song where I have it all boils down to dun 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 dun, like before the hook drops. It's like a real money phrase, like whatever. It was all a hologram or whatever the fuck we've been writing. And it's just like I'll just make sure I didn't just take that from some fucking song.
Yeah.
Like
I have that problem the same in the writing process. Never on the stage process.
Yeah.
And I do the same.
Yeah, because once it gets to stage anyways, it's like you've already kind of spun it and like made it like your own thing.
And I listen to so many podcasts.
And you've mulled it over for enough weeks that you're like, it would have occurred to me by now if this was someone else's.
Yeah.
I'll ask other comics too about premises. I'm like, have you heard somebody talk about like
sometimes you think
killing yourself via fucking a bear? And people are like, no. I'm like, great, that's my new
because
clothes.
that's so specific that if you did steal it from somebody, it would be really weird. You know what I mean? Like
Death by bear. That's funny.
But
sounds like something Joe Rogan would say, but
Hey, if it's anything like songwriting, sounding like something a successful artist would say, but it being yours and no one else has said it is the
it's
fucking
a good
magic.
spot to be in. Yeah,
exactly. My favorite. Whenever I sent a song out to a friend of mine, and she's like, "No, you basically just lifted this from Gnarls Barkley Crazy," and I'm like, "What did we?" And I got kind of nervous for a
It
second.
wasn't even that close.
And then so I pulled it up.
It was just in the voice.
I hadn't listened to Gnarls Barkley Crazy in a while, so I pulled it up and I listened, and I'm like, "It is similar," and then I pulled ours back up. Like, it's not the fucking same at all.
No, it's not.
It's just, it sounds like
It's
the same
in that-
band plays
it's in
both
that same-
songs.
yeah,
That's what it sounds
exactly.
like. But it's not, I mean, and my reply to her was, that's what the fuck you want it to sound like, is that the band that won the 20 Grammys for that song made a new song, and it's this other awesome record.
I was hoping your song was just like, maybe you're nutty.
I think you're nutty.
Let's be buddies.
Gnarls Barkley was awesome, and somehow he went kind of crazy. Didn't he get a bunch of trouble recently?
Word is he roofied a girl.
That's what I heard.
It was a date rape situation. CeeLo, let's be real, CeeLo
Gnarls Barkley
was already batting way above his looks because of his career and his voice and his
He's ugly as
interesting.
shit.
Because he is he looks like the man who would like cook in the back of like an Arby's. You know what I mean? Like he's like an assistant manager / like nighttime like cook at an Arby's, and he's definitely fucked some tens, which he should just be grateful. So yeah, the whole like put a drink. What's that line? Like I put a drink something in your drink, you ain't even know it.
I don't know.
I'm fucking that shit up for a rapper. But yeah, that whole like mentality of like, I'm gonna fuck this music video girl by drugging her drink. It's so fucked up.
Yeah.
It's actually weird for me because thank God he hasn't really put out any music since then, because we've kind of tried to make an effort. We're not like social justice like heavy, but when I find out that a motherfucker goes to jail for rape a second time, we just take his songs off our wedding playlist. That's kind of where our line is.
And I used to love Mystical, okay? Mystical was like my shit, and we had to boycott
We've not written
that.
off every artist who's accused of like battery even, but we've definitely the convicted rapists have been lit.
We can separate art from artist to a certain extent, you know?
In any case, that one was weird for me hearing that, like, because I really like CeeLo, and CeeLo in a lot of ways is my spirit animal, because let me tell you the CeeLo story. CeeLo was in a hardcore rap group and didn't want to be a rapper anymore, and so he started singing on all the hardcore rap songs. And then eventually he dropped the rap songs and just kept singing, and eventually became this amazing artist, like in his late 40s. Now let me tell you the first half of my story. In shitty boom bap rap groups, don't want to rap in shitty boom bap rap groups anymore, so I start singing on shitty boom bap rap records. Then I drop the boom bap and I just keep singing. So I'm really hoping that the Gnarls Barkley effect kicks in at some point and I get the Grammys. I'm a big fan of his whole career trajectory and sound. I'm like the skinny white CeeLo.
You'll be on The Voice Canada.
Bro, that's not what I want to do, but if you said to me you have to do all the success and the kind of downside is when you're done you're gonna have to be like a voice judge, I'd be fun.
But you still get
It's a little corn for me, but it'd be fun.
You could bring your he has a cat. You could bring your dog and pet your dog as you turn around.
If I could bring Cal on the show, that'd be the shit. She'd be so famous.
Yeah, she's the best. Everybody loves Callie.
Yeah, so can I share a news story that went live today that I think you guys are going to find very
course.
entertaining? There's a wealth of material here.
Okay.
Some super fan of Trump in the U.S. said, because you guys know what's going on right now with the whole like funding of the border wall in the U.S. right now. So basically, even if you do know, the listeners might not. So
I don't know.
essentially, there's been an ongoing dispute about how Trump's going to pay for the border wall.
Yeah. Right.
He said,
So no, I know
Mexico's going to pay for it. And then the Mexican Trump literally put out a statement. He's like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Did you say the Mexican Trump?
Yeah. Well, Mexican, did I say Trump? I don't know.
Yeah, you said Mexican Trump.
Mexican Trump.
I'm picturing there's just a Mexican version of him.
Mustache. The Mexican Trump says, fuck that. I don't know what he's talking about. We're not paying for shit. And then, of course, the taxpayer said, well, we're not paying for it. And right now, the White House is doing one of those like almost shutdowns because no one can agree on who's going to finance this fucking bill and blah, blah, blah. It's a big political fiasco right now. So one of the Trump fans, in response to this, says, fuck that. If every Trump voter kicked in $80, we could pay for it.
I mean, I can't really even be mad at that.
They raised $4.7 million in 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
How much is the wall? $4.7 million?
No, $12 billion. So they got a long way to go. But they raised $4.5 million in 5 days. Or like 4 or 5 days or something.
Wow, I
crazy.
said I can't even be mad at that, but now I'm mad at that.
Yeah.
That what?
Isn't that crazy? So, and they raised $1 million in 1 day, and then now they're at like 5 days. It's slowing down a little bit. And somebody said they'd have to raise like whatever, like $10 million a day for like the next like so many hundred days before they could even get close to paying for the wall.
Man, just imagine if people did that for like a better cause.
Yeah,
You know what I
You're
mean?
not the first person to say that.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I instantly thought, now that we're in the marketing talk, I would start approaching companies that are in line with his views and be like, hey, you guys want some advertising?
You're also not the first person to bring up the idea of
But that
advertising.
I think you're not allowed to do that in politics, though, right?
can't.
Like I don't think you
Not
can.
even for like...
You could potentially finance the wall with advertising. They'd have to pass a law, I think, but
Because like
they could do that.
CN, like, I guess that's different, building a wall, building a tower.
I think putting like brands on the fuck Mexicans wall is tough.
But here's where I see the other side.
Of the wall?
People who are like, have like companies that can help with immigration and shit. They buy the wall and put their things on the Mexican side.
No.
It'd be like, hey, we'll help you. Like, come here, call this number instead of having to climb this
That
wall.
is a
We'll get
turd
you in.
covered in gold spray paint if I've ever seen it. No.
I know they don't want the wall, but if you're gonna have a wall, have some good messages on it, right?
That's like, hey, I'm gonna fuck your girl. I know you don't want me to, but I'm gonna play one of your favorite songs in the background while I do it. No.
All right, bad idea.
Even better, I'm gonna fuck your girl while wearing an immigration t-shirt. That's even less than one of my favorite songs.
What about a ramp company? They invest.
But there's no ramp. The problem is people are wishing there was a ramp, and so they're calling up the ramp company being like, would I like to order a ramp to the wall, please?
Half pipe.
Sorry, we have a strict policy of not delivering ramps to the wall. We also encourage you to not call the staircase company or the escalator company because they don't deliver those to the wall either.
Oh, wow, that's nutty.
It's crazy that they're building. I went to Germany at the safe, awesome time now.
Yeah, I went in 2009.
It was pretty safe and
You
awesome
mean you
then
didn't
too.
go in the 50s?
No, I didn't go in the 50s. I know you think, like, you're like, look at this man with a scraggly beard. He seems like the type who has a time travel device somewhere in his tiny apartment, but I do not. So I went in the awesome now time, and I went and saw the wall. But even just, because the truth is, when I see shit, I never get like, oh, it's so heavy and impactful seeing the wall and the gravity of it all. No, I didn't feel that at all.
Do you watch Big Mouth?
Yeah.
Okay. He sounds like the hormone monster when he
sound like
does
the hormone
when he does.
monster.
I'm the truth monster. I don't feel any
To
emotions.
be fair to you, you've been doing that voice for long before
I'm
Big
not
Mouth
doing the
existed.
Big Mouth voice. This
No,
is
you
my-
got
that's
Halloween
just your
costume.
creepy dude voice.
if they made one, I'd do it.
Yeah, a lot of people. I used to work at a costume store, and I still hang out with other people from there, and they said that was like huge last year.
Oh, wow.
Everyone was being like the hormone monster and like the female hormone monster. Anyway, sorry.
All I was going to say is that even though I don't get that like heavy feeling of seeing like the wall and the gravity of it all, you do see this fucking wall in the middle of the city, and it just says people on this side were not allowed to fucking come over, and the people on this side were rich as fuck, and the people over here were poor as fuck, and it's just like, well then, like, it's just, you realize that the wall is, as rude as it is, it's so much deeper than that, because there's people on this side are fucking broke, and they're just like looking at the wall like if there's anything to do to fucking just go over there where people don't just die for no fucking reason.
And already without a wall, it's not easy to still just get it. Like
no,
like it's not a good time. And then just adding the wall is more of a
it's insulting. It's a statement. It means you're nothing. It's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Because I'm pro no border. I'm pro. That's not the answer, personally. Is like draw these imaginary lines where it's like, no, we're rich over here and you're broke over there. And it's like, well, how come you get to live in the rich place? Because I was born here. And it's like, well, that's just lucky. That's not fair. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I think the reality is, if you just got rid of borders, as ridiculous and harebrained as most people would look at that as being, I think it would be weird for a minute where everyone would race to Manhattan and LA and stuff. And then things would level out after like 5 years, where it would be like, oh, the rich people do move to other areas where they found a way to like collect in small groups in places if that they wanted to. But I think that's just better than having lines where people are just dying on this side of the line. And it just, I don't know.
There'd still be gated neighborhoods for the rich people.
That's what I mean. You can still, there's other solutions if you're worried about like, well, you don't want just anybody from anywhere in the world to come around you and your fucking friends. It's like, no problem. Buy some property and go be by yourself. That's fine.
Oh my gosh, kind of a hard pivot, but because he just said gated neighborhoods, can we talk about the the thing that you brought up in LA?
Yeah, I love that I just proposed the most revolutionary idea on this podcast I've ever discussed.
And I'm going to bring it back to like the raunchiness.
Let's move on because we have a long time to do it. But we're going to move on for like 5 seconds. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's talk about this.
No, I think you should start.
No.
It was your thing.
Well, I can't remember it now, though. Remind me.
Oh, okay. So basically, when we were in LA, we were sitting getting drunk probably before going to the Comedy Store or something. And Anthony was just like, what do celebrities do with their underwear?
Bingo. Great question.
Yeah, because he's just like, you can't just like throw them out because obviously people would like steal them and be like, oh, Natalie Portman's underwear for $500 on eBay. You know what I mean? So it's like, do they have
Justin
to like
Bieber.
Incinerate them? Like, how did they throw them out? And the reason.
So at the time, I proposed a service similar to the one is tonight.
Yes.
Where it's like a celebrity panties, like, see, I'm having my stutter problem right now.
Like disposal?
Disposal. I want to go say distribution, but they can't distribute it.
Yeah, that's the opposite. That's the opposite of what they want.
Disposal service, yeah. Or like miniature incinerators in all like celebrity kitchens where you just put the panties in and it just like burns them right there. So.
You have a drone that flies that has a wood chipper on it.
Yeah. What do you think it actually is, though? What do you think the actual answer to
what
that
they do with their panties?
Yeah.
And underwears? I guess... I don't know. Like, are people really searching to throw? Because I throw my underwear out like once a year. I got a couple pairs that I gotta go.
Yeah, but it's like you don't do it so.
Let's pretend
but I feel
we're
like
talking
they'd be
about
looking
who's
through,
the most. So let's start at the top. The top of the tree.
It's Kardashian.
Whose panties on the entire planet are worth the most?
I would.
Donald Trump's would be worth quite a bit right now.
I imagine. No, he's on the list.
I feel like a
He's
sexy
regrettably
girl
on the
though would
list,
be
but he's
high.
not the
All
top.
the bad
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are on.
Somebody
Kim Jong-un.
somebody sexier will be on the top though. I think.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian's not
sniffers.
sexy right now.
Yeah.
Idris Alba.
But there's not that
Bro.
many female sniffers.
No.
Not to.
Can we stop
I mean,
for a second?
A
Can we
rich
stop for
lady would buy that. I don't know.
No, just for a moment here. It's insane that you just suggested Idris Elba.
What, you don't think his underwear would be worth a lot?
It's just insane that that's where your head went. It says a lot about you. There's like a middle-aged UK man is your suggestion of whose underwear are worth. I said
sexy
panties.
man.
he is a dreamboat.
You know he is, but no. But like literally, here's the thing: if we were to launch the service and we were to see who was searched, he'd be like 80th on the list. I think you're way off.
But I feel like guys wouldn't pay for like the big celebrity.
Because panty
Oh,
sniffing
hot
is a
chick.
Sniffers will
But ain't
pay
chick.
more than any woman will pay.
Yeah. I
Some
feel like
some male sniffer.
let's
will pay
be
any more
honest,
than-
sniffers are 99% men. There's not many
Yeah,
female
no.
sniffers.
We're-
Now, Justin Bieber boxers.
Some
for
girls
sure
will buy
would
some
be a
Shawn
thing.
Mendes boxers
Yeah.
and Justin
Yeah,
Bieber's
yeah.
boxers, but not on the level
they're
of what a sniffer
mostly
will
men.
pay.
Two separate questions then. Have you ever had somebody sniff your underwear as an artist?
No, of course not. No, I'm not that.
Well, you
famous.
don't know.
Someone did name their child after me, but that's but no one's ever sniffed. My
I feel like
underwear.
people would sniff underwear before name a baby.
He didn't have access to my underwear, and it's just a little more sexual. And it was a guy, so I just.
Have you ever sniffed underwear?
I have never sniffed
Funny they
underwear.
went to
no.
her.
Have you sniffed underwear?
No, but there's definitely a moment in my life where I was younger and horny, where like I would have, but I didn't.
I collected underwear for a bit.
Interesting.
And then I moved out and I didn't bring my underwear collection. My mom found it. And threw it. But
I once had an ex ask for a pair. Like, he wasn't an ex at the time; he was my boyfriend at the time. But he asked for a pair of my underwear, and I gave it to him. And then, like 2 months later, he was like, "Can I have another one? They're starting to smell weird."
Oh.
Which I'm like, does like pussy
him
juice like
problem.
mold? Like, I don't know. Sorry, guys. I
think it's
brought it
really
to a
gross.
gross
Can you
place.
search who is the most followed woman in the world on the internet? Who
Well,
is
it
that?
would be a Kardashian,
Ariana Grande.
right?
She's pretty followed.
She's pretty high up there, I
Because
think.
I feel like the Kardashians have lost stock in the last year. You don't
Yeah,
hear
but
about
for example,
this much.
Kylie Jenner would be worth more than Kim, I think, right now.
Yeah. Kim's stock's falling with Kanye going nuts.
Oh, Kanye's lost it. Fuck that dude.
He was trying to get on Joe Rogan podcast.
So my guess is Kylie Jenner, Kardashian, maybe Beyonce.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton would be on the list. She's a powerful woman. Sniffers would like that.
She wears like granny panties for sure.
Okay, first of all, who's Cristiano Ronaldo?
He's a footballer, like a soccer
He
player.
has 148 million followers.
Yeah, he's the
His
biggest football.
underwear.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely on the list for sure.
I think Idris
I think
Elba
a
will be up
woman's
there.
got to be number one.
So Selena Gomez, 133 million.
Might be her. My vote's Selena Gomez then.
Yeah, then Cristiano Ronaldo second, Ariana Grande third, Beyonce
Okay.
fourth, Kim Kardashian
So
fifth.
now that let's assume that all these celebrities
Swift.
lived in a neighborhood. You don't think the sniffers are targeting that neighborhood to get access to panties? Because Selena Gomez doesn't wear them until they get holes. She throws them out the minute they aren't immaculate. For
You're
sure
right.
she does.
You're right.
And so the question is, how does she get rid of them? Now, comedian and radio personality Alison Dorr says that the answer is they live in a gated community to protect them against such things. But I would argue, though she's not here, so I'm not really debating with her, but I would argue that the gated community only adds one layer of which the sniffers are more than competent to deal with. Because now what they know is out of these fucking 80 houses, these 12 homes are there. And that if they can search the garbage and find any indication of whose home it is, i.e., some fucking bill got thrown out, or I don't know.
And one question that I had was like, what if you're a celebrity, especially like a female celebrity, who you're not quite gated community rich yet? You know what I mean?
a lot of people like that.
Like there's female
Kevin
comedians.
Smith tells a story about living like on like Hollywood Boulevard, like with like a door on the street, and he would come out and people would be like looking at him with like a printed out sheet of paper, like, this is Kevin Smith's house, and like there he is, like on the street.
Yeah.
And then he was pretty famous. So whatever the hot female version of that would be,
Yeah, like
Well, here's what
Tia Leone or whatever.
the grinders, they go out and they pick up the not gated community panties and they flip those on
Yes.
the internet. And then they work their way up until they've made enough money to live in that gated community. And once they're inside the gated community, they work from inside the gated community to steal the panties to give it to the people.
Wow.
Do you know what's funny? So when we were researching this, like we
I
actually
have
got
an
like
alternate
full
theory I'll
into
pitch in
it.
a moment. Go.
And we were researching it, and I found that like we were like, what does celebrity even do with their clothes generally? And not even just their panties, but their clothes generally after they're done with them, because you can't just like. I don't know. Like, what do they do? And so there is an eBay celebrity where celebrities do actually don't. I think they probably have like a third party person deal with it, but they donate their clothes and they sell them on eBay
For charity
And there
or what?
was a Selena Gomez bra that wasn't even that bad of a price, and I was like, I should just get you that for Christmas as a joke.
It would be creepy, but I really do think Selena Gomez is like
We'll
that
frame
human.
it and put it up in the podcast studio.
I've had multiple girlfriends not offer, but like talk about wanting to sell their underwear.
Interesting.
And my most recent
Yeah,
girlfriend,
I have
was
no problem
totally
with
for
it.
it.
Zero problem
I was
with
like,
it.
because we were living together, I was like, let's do it.
Listen, as soon as you get Ken Sniffy Jr. on the case, you might never get rid of him, though. That's all I'm saying. You're going to expose your girl to being like, because I'm about it. Like, I'm not mad at it. We've known people who are cam girls and things over the years, and so just as like little thought experiment, I think like, would I be able to handle it if Jess was like, hey man, I make a lot of money at this cam girl stuff, and I'm not opposed to it. It doesn't make me even jealous, but there is that element of like. The fucking sniff McGee's out there, the fucking gross one, the grossest guys who spend all day on campsites falling in love with these girls are just like obsessed with you. And that just sounds like a world of headache.
Yeah, my thing is that I would just have to be a decent amount of money to be worth it. And like, what do you think my panties right now with my like 3,000 followers, whatever it is?
It's
What
not
do
about
you
your
think?
followers. We would take really hot pictures of you, and you're like
That's what I mean. I have
but
to
you're like a
become,
tatted
different
alt.
thing.
You know, but you already take hot pictures. It's not that crazy.
Yeah,
but you're
I
like this
guess.
tatted alt model. If you had sexy panties, I think it would fetch more than your 3,000 followers would get you. That's
Okay,
all I'm
how
saying.
much do you think I could get? So let's
I
say
don't know. I don't know the panty market.
Let's just say I do a photo shoot with fucking Lee
bucks,
Solo,
$100
sexy,
bucks?
I have
whatever.
no idea what the panty market is.
$100 bucks, you
I think I
think?
got $100 bucks,
That
a
seems
couple $100 bucks.
high.
You know how the menu says like current market rate for lobster? I don't know what that is for panties.
I think it's all depending. Like if you, you'd have to like play a game, I think, to get your price higher, where you like post just these sexy pictures and like have a following.
Yeah, see that's the
And
thing. Like I
then
wouldn't
they're
be.
like demanding the panties. They're like, we
Yeah.
want the panties.
See, that's the thing when you're
And
not
then
a
You have
celebrity.
to create a demand. It's a supply and demand. He's right.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, who wants my panties? Because then people are like,
I don't know.
$5?
I mean, I'll try them. Do you have a sample?
Yeah.
I can
You gotta get a square?
just, like, cut a piece off and send it my way.
Give me a
What do you
bow.
think? Okay, let's say like a famous female celebrity. So let's say like Nikki Glaser. What do you think that
She's not that famous. I don't think she could get very much.
Okay,
I think
Whitney
she get, like,
Cummings.
500.
From a
$500.
super fan, but like on the general market, people are like, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. She killed it, by the way, and I'm a big fan. I would
Sarah Silverman.
love to fuck Nikki
Oh,
Glaser,
Sarah
but-
Silverman. I think you could get Sarah Silverman panties pretty easy.
Yeah, but what? How much do you think she
Gives
could?
them out.
How much do you think
She
she
has,
could
like, a
get
little,
for
like-
them?
they're like-
She signs them after a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they it just leaves them on like a line out in front of our house. People can
Yeah.
go get them whenever they want.
How much do you think she could get for them?
I don't know, babe. I don't.
I'm curious. I'm seriously curious.
I say, like,
she's
$500
famous,
but I don't
but She's
know.
not like superstar. I think she'd be like 300.
I want to know what the mid-level panty price is.
I will say this: either this already exists, or the sniffers are slacking because I've identified an opportunity. Very easy going to LA and
I feel like
Google
4
Maps.
business ideas this episode. It's great.
Imagine you live with me. Jess is over it. It's like living on set at Shark Tank. So
I
I
wish
get it.
I
I'm
had-
out of money. I'm out of money to invest.
I wish
I'm
I
out.
had more money.
I'm out.
There's no more money. There's no more money to invest in your ideas.
I feel like I wish I was Mark Cuban. I wish I had money to invest in all these businesses. Specifically the kissing one off the top. I'm still thinking about that one. I'm gonna look it up later tonight. See if there's somebody who can teach me how to
You
kiss.
just keep them in the back of your minds, or in the back of your pockets, or in the back of your other things, and then down the road. And here's the beauty of it. Ready for this? Is the real fucking gem. Even if you don't want us to do that kissing idea, the real secret is the like idea behind it. You know what I mean? You can like soak up that idea, and then down the road there'll be another problem you're trying to solve, and you're gonna be like, "This is like the kissing thing."
Yeah.
And then you're going to reverse engineer the whole fucking thing in your mind. Equations will form around you in the sky, and then you'll have a new idea.
Do you know what? This is actually a great segue into another topic. What time do we have with you till like maybe like
Oh, I'm
9?
good all night now. I'm till whatever now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, things
We're
fell
gonna
through at the other
fucking
show.
keep
He's actually been blackballed by the local comedy scene, so he's actually might be moving in here.
I'm just-
There's some space on the floor. Do you mind sleeping under the table?
I'm just a stripper now, and yes, I'll sleep underneath your table.
You only have one gig as a stripper, so you've really put all the eggs in that one basket.
And it only pays $60. I don't get tipped.
Funny enough, eggs in the basket is actually a
$60
move
is
you could
kind of
do.
great.
Where you put your balls in there. Okay.
Okay.
that'd be-
now the segue was
okay.
ruined, but the segue was basically my new app segment where I talk about new apps.
Jess has
that
a
are-
new app.
Keep going.
Spinach and cheese dip.
Spinach and cheese dip. It's an app.
So you're making.
That's definitely not an
There's
app.
an app for that.
So sometimes on this podcast, I talk about new apps that are out. We already talked about Turo, which is the app where we can rent luxury vehicles for like,
Luxury. You just turned into like
Luxury
Andrew Dice
vehicles.
Clay for a second.
for
Luxury
like
vehicles.
$40 a day. But there's some other apps that I haven't even tried yet, but that I read about and that
Grindr.
sound super dope. So Who Sampled is one that I heard about recently, and I'm a little bit skeptical because I use the SoundCloud, which is basically you put your phone on
Hound, babe.
SoundHound, yeah, that's right, and you sing into your so judgmental. You sing into your phone and it recognizes the song that you're like, you can just hum or you can go la 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 and it tells you what song you're singing. So there was that one, but it wasn't quite accurate. Like I would sing like a more, like if it was Britney Spears, it would know it. But if it was like Grizzly Bear or whatever, it's like it wouldn't really, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it like wasn't, it didn't only knew mainstream stuff. So Who Sampled is essentially the same thing, but it's a sample within a song. So if there's a song that has like a voice sample
There's
in
no
it,
way.
you hold, it's like a Shazam thing. That's what it says. And it'll recognize
It'll get
the
some.
song that the original sample
It'll
came
get
from.
some. There's no way it gets them all.
I agree. I'm skeptical.
It's too much, man.
I'm skeptical.
As somebody who's heard like samples flipped every which way, sometimes I don't even know there's a sample until at some point I'm trying to like place the song in something, and then the producer goes, "Oh, yo, that one thing is a sample." I'm like that.
and samples
like,
are
yeah,
also
that's a sample from
they're-
the song. I'm
They're
like,
so
what?
obscure too. Like Wiz Khalifa has one from like my favorite Super Nintendo video game, Chrono Trigger. And I remember I heard it and I was like, "Oh my god, it's from Chrono Trigger!" But it's like, would that app fucking know it was from the video game Chrono Trigger? Like, I doubt it. You know what I mean? Like,
You know what'll happen down the road? This is where we're headed because I've been to a million fucking music conferences these last 2 years, and they're trying to get to this place where they close all the little fucking holes. Because right now you can, there's a million holes. Let's say I make a song, I sample a record I just find at a record store. I don't get permission. I just sample it. I make a song. there's one hole. I've made, like, someone's not getting paid that should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I upload it on YouTube. It's like, boom, for a second time, someone should be getting paid. And it's like there's all these steps where there's kind of gaps in the information because no one's really, it's impossible to control. How do you control sound?
Yeah.
But I think what we're eventually going to get to is where there's like so much metadata in the sound that when you sample it, the internet will be able to tell immediately because there's like this like data in the sound because they're really smartifying everything. It's like the minute you upload something, I get an email saying the thing you've uploaded is owned by these people, and it's like, how do you even you know that before even I fucking know that? And it's like that's already where we are now, and they're only closing like holes, really big holes, but I think at some point they're going to close that sample hole. I don't think these guys have done it yet. That's too hard.
Yeah, I can't imagine. You know what? Stay tuned. I'll download it. I'll test it out, and I'll come back with a report.
I'm going to make a prediction. We rarely follow up on the things that we say, and we'll come back and talk about this. But my prediction is, if we ever come back and talk about this on our follow-up episode, we're gonna tie all the loose ends. Is that they can do samples that are like 30 seconds, that are like the primary sample, like Kanye West songs, where it's the like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When you fly away. Like, yeah, you can figure out what that is, no problem. But
that's from that 1950s classic.
Yeah, when you fly away.
So should we move on to the next app?
I think this app could be like the start of maybe figuring out how to close the holes.
No, that's what I mean. I think these are the early stages of what eventually they'll be able to do it, where they even get like 1 second and they're like, oh, we've done the fucking FBI cross matching on all of the fucking notes and the metadata of that audio, and that is this motherfucking artist over here.
It would be really hard for them to get any of that kind of, even if they have algorithms to figure out all these samples, it could be from all these modern songs that have kind of a zeros and ones pattern because they've been created on computers. But then when you start talking about songs from the 50s,
for sure,
60s, anything back before computers, there's no way to really.
You're right.
Track that.
You're right. You're right that anything that you create, let's say they even create a solution. Anything that they create after that solution is easy. It's an easy solution. Yeah. Anything from before that becomes this like immense back catalog of like trying to resolve, and that's fucking impossible.
It'd have to be somebody buying all these old records.
So what you're really talking, probably you're right. So yeah, you fucking poked a hole in my whole fucking idea. So new idea, you probably have to wait until there's some kind of like AI thing that is so hyper smart. It can like narrow down any like 1 second of music to the 12 songs that it could be. Yeah. And then it's like, now maybe you need like a human or the artist himself to verify which one it is that he fucking sampled or something.
Yeah.
But
I do like the idea of sample bot, just a robot that like hears songs. And he's like, you have stolen this song.
I'm honestly looking for like a better Soundhound because do you remember that indie song that I like can't figure out what it is?
Soundhound knows that it's like your aunt. It's like Soundhound knows it if it's like a top 10 song.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
I do love that I can say, like, hey, Google. I can't say it too loud at my house because the house is mic'd up.
Yes, it's like so.
Yeah, it's like, it comes in here,
like,
it's offering sexual favors, it's a whole thing. But I can say, like, play my music with my name, and it's like, got you, fam.
I feel like I'm being really intense. Am I peaking a little too much this episode?
That also might be me. Because
no, it's me. I've been looking. It's me every time.
Well, maybe you have been. I don't know. I do like when women are seen and not heard. Remember that.
Next app.
I like when they're heard and not seen.
Next app.
Like sex lines?
Jessica.
No, I just like when I used to live with my girlfriend, she'd be like, Ian? And I'm like, yeah, we'll have a conversation from separate rooms. It's great. I like this. Maybe that's why it didn't work out so well. But, yeah.
So yeah, Home Court is a virtual basketball trainer that watches you shoot hoops through iPhone or iPad camera. So basically, this is not beneficial to me at all because I'm not athletic.
No, Jess, listen, I am sick and tired of hearing about your baseless dream of becoming an NBA star. She won't stop talking about it, to be honest, and I'm always like, I've literally never seen you shoot hoops. And she says, one day there will be an app that will watch me shoot hoops and will be able to give me feedback on my form my release, my timing.
I love how you just described the app without
knew where
me
you were
finishing
going
the
with it.
description.
Listen,
yeah,
I'm a fucking
so
visionary.
it just films you and it keeps track of obviously how many baskets you get, but then also gives you advice based on
check
your
how many fucking
form.
baskets I got.
I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.
0. The answer is 0.
I think that's pretty cool.
No,
that's
that's
like
pretty
the
cool.
next level of like athlete training is just like your phone can
fortune
just
cookies,
watch
where they
you.
just rotate with like between like 5 like
Advice?
Because getting it in is I get it because it's like it's a pretty it's watching for a pretty specific like color combination. There's the red and the white, and then the orange goes through it. It's a pretty specific thing. You probably have it lock on. You show it on the screen where the net is. That makes sense to me. Cool, but it makes sense. Now it being like, bruh, your timing is fucked. I don't know how it knows that. So it could just be like, make sure your back's straight. They just say that to everybody out of 1 out of 7 feedbacks, and they just
But
run a
I bet you
randomizer.
as the app collects more info, it probably gets more intelligent.
I mean, listen, I believe in AI, and I know that's where we're going, but I suppose I just haven't seen stuff yet that does things
Yeah.
at that level, and so I'm only a skeptic for now because I know that's where we're headed, and that there's a million billionaires hiring a billion scientists.
It's
to
funny
invent
to think
shit
that
right
we're
now.
in like the giant phone stage of AI right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the giant like car telephone. like that's the stage of AI we're in. Where like we think it's so cool, but it's like it really is really primitive
It
as
also
far
could
as
be
AI
something
goes.
in it just telling you the like 7 things that need to be known to shoot a free throw.
Yeah.
If it just tells you that, that's also good because
That's not useless. It's just
Have
not.
it in
It's
your
just
mind.
You could
not
also
what Jess is
Google
pitching us
that though,
now.
right?
yeah, it's not what the.
That's not the pitch.
So
I
I
keep
say,
on trying to defend these apps.
You know what? You know who needs defending?
Man, the apps.
Billionaire Silicon Valley investors. They need somebody to get behind them. They've been left unguarded for too long.
It's a good thing they got a friend in Ian Fergus.
Yeah, that's right.
And if they want to keep,
I thought it was
some money,
pronounced Ferjou, is it not?
it's my family. We've changed over.
Oh, okay. Former Nazis now in hiding. I understand.
Yeah, the Ferguses.
The Farhuses.
so I've saved.
For any person who's listening, bright blonde hair, steely blue eyes, on me. That's why I look.
It's not me.
What about the people that are watching?
People who are watching, they have bought a filter. I'm under a camera filter.
So I saved the best for last as far as the new apps
I have one
goes.
too. After
And
you're done.
it's not as exciting, but I just think it's really useful for me personally, is virtual tape measure. So basically, if you have a picture on your table, you just take a picture of it and it tells you it's like 4 by 6 or whatever.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoa.
I feel like you're not as excited
No,
as I
that is
want
pretty
you to be.
crazy.
You're going to move on in 2 seconds, though.
I don't know what to say about it, but it's pretty crazy.
My day job's construction. I was talking today about getting because there's like laser pointers that do that.
yeah.
And now that I know there's an app, you just saved me some money. That I
Yeah,
have to go buy this laser pointer.
I believe it's called virtual tape measure, but I will look into that and send you that information.
It's kind of cool. In theory, it's actually like pretty easy, I guess, to figure out because your camera, it knows how much it's zoomed and what its
Yeah.
scale is,
Yeah. Right?
and it knows the screen
So I
distance.
suppose I think to me, this is the one question I don't know how it answers. Yeah, sure. How far away is the table from you? It doesn't know.
Well, it would know if you're zoomed in, and it knows how big of a like.
It doesn't know how big the room is.
But it knows how much it can see.
Yeah. So it knows how big the camera is.
And cameras now, they know
This is
depth.
probably some insane... Does it, though? Does it know how far you are away from the camera?
Well, it can do depth in photos, right? It can like blur your
can-
background.
Yeah, but that just means it can find the item. I don't know if it knows it can calculate the exact number of inches between you and the item.
Because I'm thinking just like width-wise, it can tell because it knows it's how far it can see. But now you're talking depth, and that makes a lot more sense. It doesn't know where it is.
Yeah, it's like how far is it from the camera? I don't think it knows that, and therefore, so if the table's this big but it's 3 feet away, or if it's this big and it's 30 feet away, that's obviously 2 different size tables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so obviously there's way better mathematicians than me that are on the case. I'm just trying to catch up with them. You know, I was like, I don't understand how that fucking works. So the other app thing that we saw in LA that I'll contribute to Jessica's app minute or whatever we fucking decided to call it. I don't know if we even gave it a name, but whatever. Is
Appy Hour?
Appy Hour. Ooh, I like it. Welcome to Appy Hour with Jessica Robert.
Happy hour.
Yeah.
So the last app that you've probably heard of, but you didn't know about this jazzy new feature is Uber and Lyft. While in LA, they have scooters. It's like an Uber scooter just strewn around town. And
Heard
you can
of
just
this.
go around and pick up the scooters, and right on your Uber app, it's like a different like tab on the top, and you go from like ride to scooter.
Yeah.
And then it's just like pick up a scooter and whip about. Now we didn't do it; we were too busy taking car Ubers. But we did see many
they're all over the
lying
place.
around, and it was really interesting.
There's a Netflix documentary about it where it shows the people who love it and who use it all the time, and the people who like hate it and think it's like pollution. Because they are everywhere. They're like people just leave them laying.
It is a
everywhere,
little bit
right?
of a nuisance, but at the same time, so many people were riding them, and I'm just like, fuck, that is a green
But
way of getting around.
it's only a
and-
nuisance because we're not used to it, right? 'Cause
No, but they're also
everything's
just
a
on the
nuisance.
sidewalk and just like everywhere.
Yeah.
So, for example, you could maybe they could do something where they just go, well, if we're going to accept these as a part of reality, we'll just put many like square things around that you can just go leave them on, so they're just not on the sidewalk.
I think that's
People get paid to charge them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they do.
chargers,
Take them home and charge them.
and then you ride them and put them in a place that like there isn't one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that helps to contribute. It's just the lazy people who don't care about
Yeah, you're not supposed to
extra
leave them in
money.
the middle of the sidewalk. The same way you're not supposed to park your car in the middle of the sidewalk.
Where
or
are
whatever.
you supposed to leave them?
I think you're supposed to leave them like at street corners where there's like space, like the same way that you would like if you take your dog to shit somewhere and you don't want your dog to shit on someone's lawn, you take them to shit on like those side lawns. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Like the kind of like city owned like center lawn things. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That's kind of the same thing with the scooters, where it's like it's kind of makes sense to be.
So
the
you're saying the
places
ones
you
that were
put
on the
them.
sidewalk,
It's common sense.
those people didn't put them in the right spot.
Yeah, like the one that was in the middle of like
Yeah.
out front of our Airbnb.
And it didn't bother me, by the
no,
way.
it didn't
I
bother
wasn't
me
like-
either.
I didn't say
but
one
it was
thing
just
about
like
it.
it was in the middle of the
I
sidewalk.
suppose I was just trying to relate to the people who live there who go, there is a scooter on every sidewalk now.
And now that you run out of batteries, so if it ran out of batteries while you were in the middle of the sidewalk, of course you're just gonna fucking leave it there. So it's gonna happen sometimes, right?
They should have it almost so that you're like put something in the scooter like a level sensor, so that you can't like your ride doesn't end if you leave it laying down. It has to be like propped against something.
That's a good point.
That's an easy thing.
That's a relatively easy piece of engineering to be like, yeah, you just got to put one of those whatever like velocirometers,
'Cause originally my-
velociraptometers in the fucking thing, and then
My idea was like the Toronto bikes where you have to lock it up to be done. But that's a lot of overhead to have all
and
those
I like
wheels.
this because
And
like,
it's
I
never
like the
close
fact
enough
that
to
there's no
you.
overhead and you can just kind of leave it anywhere. But yeah, I hadn't thought about the fact that the ones in the sidewalk might have just been breaking already pre-existing rules.
Because if we had that in Toronto, which I'm sure it'll come with the scooters, right?
Toronto's kind of
I
place
would
where to do it.
Cities are fighting out here.
1,000% use it to ride back and forth from
Question, though.
Shayla's.
Toronto has a problem. Winter comes. What do they do?
Yeah,
Put
true.
chains on the tires.
They might not go to northern cities for real. It might be a dilemma for northern
Or
cities.
they adapt, put skis instead of,
I love it.
Motorized
wheels.
little skis.
I love the premise.
Yeah, you push.
They're just gonna leave snowmobiles on every corner. I love it.
I grew up with
like it.
snowmobiles. So I miss snowmobiling, but also there's no fucking snow in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's December.
There's not
rain.
enough snow for snowmobiles on every corner, and there's
think-
too much snow for scooters on every corner.
I think I hear rain right now.
Yeah, there is rain.
Yeah, it's raining right now.
On December 20th.
It's also a rain roof, just when it's raining. It's really just a sky roof. They don't call it that, but
I'm not.
there's not always
optimistic.
sun. You know what I mean? Sometimes
optimistic.
it's a night roof. Sometimes it's a.
I'm like Orphan
It's
Annie.
it's yet to have ever been a tornado roof since we've lived here. Thank God.
What was the last tornado?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys just brought up tornadoes because tornadoes is on my list of things to talk about. And we haven't really made like a proper segue
Listen.
to it. So I'm like, oh, I guess this will be
You
for
see
a
how
later
good
podcast.
at this I am? I segue directly into her topic.
Did you actually know?
I don't need to know, babe.
This is marriage. This is what I was missing in my relationship that you guys have, where you guys can segue into each other's topics.
I was looking into your soul, and I thought this girl wants to talk about tornadoes, so I'm going to do a little tornado segue right now.
So you grew up in the country. You grew up in Orangeville, right? Have you ever seen a tornado?
No, there has been one in the area like before I was born that like,
Yeah.
fucked up a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
But no, I've never seen a tornado. I always wanted to though.
Yeah. So me too. I have
cool.
like this weird I loved the movie Twister. I was like a huge Bill Paxton fan. And like
Sometimes I have to role play with Bill Paxton.
You got a lot of deep roles you got to role play.
It's
I have
not
a
easy.
very specific taste.
It's not easy being me. She likes octopuses and Bill
It
Paxton.
takes a lot to get me there.
And Jeff Goldblum, but that's a combo for a later and a previous episode.
I did hear her Jeff Goldblum joke last night.
You haven't even heard that. So I've always wanted to like tornado chase. Like I wouldn't want to like be like in one, but like I would love to like see one from afar, and it's never happened. So I was just wondering if anyone in this room has ever like seen a tornado.
You just wanted to ask us if we.
No, I mean I have more stuff, but basically, like, whenever there's, like, funnel clouds, you ever heard, like, people say that, oh, there's a funnel cloud or whatever, I've always been like, please turn it into a tornado. Like,
Even though you know someone's barn's doomed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want anyone to get hurt.
At least one cow, at least one barn is going to go down.
I want to see it.
I used to see, like, little ones. It was just, like, a bunch of leaves that got caught in, like, an air cyclone.
Because that's not just like the Tasmanian devil?
Oh, man, I wish. Can I ask you a question, Illy?
I hope it's not racist.
No. It's a question I generally like to ask people.
So it's not special to me.
Who do you think is the bad guy? Roadrunner?
Oh God.
Or Wile E. Coyote? Who's the bad guy in that?
Well,
duo?
I think science suggests, not even science, not the right, I think math in this case suggests that it is Wile E. Coyote.
Yes.
Because the altercation wouldn't continue if he didn't pursue. You know what I mean?
That is a very good point.
That's the only point that is to be made.
Yeah, that's the point. Because I would agree that they're both equally violent. If you're like, who's more violent?
Yeah.
Equal, actually. I would say just about maybe 51% Wile E, because again, he started it.
No man's without sin.
But it's pretty equal. They both fuck with each other. But who's responsible? Who's the one initiating this whole problem? Who's the troublemaker? Oh, it's the guy who doesn't fucking relent. Roadrunner for sure would just move on and fuck with somebody else.
Yeah.
If
He's
Wile E.
literally
Coyote stops.
running.
Yeah.
He's running away
I don't
from
think
the
he'd
drama.
fuck with anybody if no one fucked with him.
No, but I just mean, I don't think he got so good at this by not fucking with other people. You know what I mean? Like,
That's a fair point.
I think
I
what
never
happened
thought
is
of
Wile E. Coyote came at him, and what happened is this is a motherfucker who's trained before. He knows he's got a very specific set of skills for just such a case. So
He's the Liam Neeson of running on roads.
I just, you know what I mean? Because if, like, let's say tomorrow a Wile E. Coyote-like guy entered my life, I'm pretty clever, so I would be fine. But I don't have like that many defenses like this motherfucker has ready. You know what? That's hilarious. That's the closing theme song for our episode in the background. It doesn't even have to stop, but it is playing in the background. But I will say that we're well over 2 hours. So
Are we well over 2 hours?
Not like well as in like into 3 hours.
No, because it's 9:30 now. He got here at after 7:30.
Oh, did he? Okay, so we're at 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not saying stop. I think that's why that's going off, because that's how long.
So will this be in the recording?
I think it'll be in the background.
But for us,
we don't have
that's
to-
a fun mood.
Yeah, that's great. We don't have to stop yet, but that does cue us that we're around 2 hours. Is all I'm saying.
Okay. If maybe just let me finish my.
No, I'm not cutting us. I'm
Finish
just
my,
saying that's what that
my
means.
tornado thing. So
Sorry, I hijacked things. With my
no, it's
question.
cool. That's what this is all about. I love it when I bring on a little idea and it gets hijacked. It's perfect.
But I'm
so,
also happy that you answered. Anyway, I see you as a good person now.
Yeah.
I have recently found out we did a Facebook poll. I know way too many psychopaths that are blaming the poor Roadrunner.
Victim blamers.
interesting.
Tornado.
So as far as like adrenaline junkie like things, I want to know like what you guys think about like all of these things. So we're obviously getting like high and wasted at the end of this podcast. I feel like my speech isn't as
okay.
clean as it usually is.
Let's go.
Would you ever shark dive?
Never.
Yes. In a cage.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
With a cage.
In
I
a
would never
cage.
do it out of a cage.
Not because I'm scared I would die. Because I'm scared I'd be scared, and I'd rather just not go and be that terrified.
Yeah. I'm scared of a lot of
I'd be
things,
terrified.
but
Do you do
I
roller
would do that.
coasters?
I love roller coasters, but I'm not terrified of roller coasters. I trust insurance companies, and I trust like the system.
I don't trust a bird not flying into my face. I don't do roller coasters.
Fabio.
Yeah, Fabio. That's what I say all the time. It happened to Fabio.
One
People are
out
like,
of
that
a
never
billion.
happens. I'm
One-
like, well,
no.
it happens to someone I know.
Yeah. You know Fabio?
I know Fabio, yeah. He's my homie. But I know of him. It's not like some like child in.
Yeah, but one time I walked around a corner, a bat hit me in the face. I still walk around corners, and so do you.
Yeah, but walking around corners is way more common than putting yourself on a roller coaster. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
All right, and they do croc diving now. Would you do croc diving or
I don't.
still no?
I don't dive with anything that would enjoy
So
eating.
you would
me.
do shark, but you wouldn't do croc.
Well, okay, where are we
That's
going croc
racist.
diving? Because crocs, they don't They hang out in like pretty shallow lakes, don't they?
No, well, this is like a controlled
it's not
thing.
scenic
It's
enough
like
for
it's like a touristy
I'm
thing where
sitting
you
in a lake in a cage.
in a swamp.
The crocodile like biting at the cage. I'm like, this is
in
fun.
a dirty swamp. You can't see anything.
Yeah, like sharks, it's like in a nice clear blue ocean. And I'm like scuba diving. And
No,
it's
that's-
fun.
So for you, it's all about the nature of the water.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about the nature of the animal trying to eat me.
All right, so skydiving.
Yeah.
I think I would do it, but it would be a whole thing for me. I'm terrified of heights,
I love heights.
and so it would be like a whole thing.
I wouldn't skydive. I would shark dive, croc dive, yes. Never skydive.
There's nothing in my life that I would sign up for and not do when I got there. I can't think of anything. Skydiving would be the one thing where it's like staring at the sun, where I can't even really tell you what I would do when I got up there because I'm so terrified. Like when I'm on the top of apartment buildings, like shooting, I need to stay in the middle of the building because my brain does crazy math all the time that if I'm even 2/3 towards the edge, there's a possibility a gust plus a trip means I die. And so I'm like, no, I need to stay like 10 paces from the fucking end. So even if I fell and rolled, I'm still nowhere near the edge. But that's how terrified I am that I couldn't walk 3 steps from the end if you paid me. I can't do it. I'm physically unable. So you say, okay, could you walk off the edge of an airplane? I'd like to sign up for it. I don't know if my body
You'd have to be pushed.
I don't know if my body will be able to do it.
I work my day job. I'm an iron worker, so I build structural steel, and I walk on steel beams for a
Holy
living.
shit.
And then at night, I tell jokes. 2 biggest human fears are heights and public speaking.
Yeah.
So I'm just a psycho.
You're just
who
saying
likes
how
that
brave
shit.
you are. You're just saying how
Yeah,
brave
I'm
and noble and handsome you are.
I'm a super brave guy, and I like
So you're just
Roadrunner.
essentially a brave, confident man.
Yeah, and I like talking about dicks.
Wow. Hey, ladies.
But yeah, skydiving to me is just another. Like I like adrenaline. I like.
Is there anything you wouldn't?
Like I stand on the yellow at the subway. I like danger.
See, to me, I need to get the reward for the danger, though. Like shark diving or croc diving, I get to see these majestic animals super up close in their natural habitat. Super awesome. Skydiving, I get to see the same thing I see out of the window of a plane.
You
You
get
know
a
what I
selfie.
mean? Like a selfie, yeah, maybe.
Get a
I
new
guess.
profile picture.
experience of flying
Like free falling.
is the payoff. And granted, it's not a payoff for everybody. And I could see how someone would be like, "Oh, I don't value that." That makes sense. But for me, that's the payoff. Is that like, oh, you get to because that's to me. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to dream of like flying or like versions of that, flying or like jumping off of things. And it's like I almost feel like if I die without knowing what that felt like, it would feel like I missed something. Like I never jumped off anything. I never. You know what I mean? Like
Would
hand
you
glided or
bungee jump?
No, I don't think. Do you know the thing I want to do? The thing I want to do more than anything is the one where you get pulled behind something and then you fly.
Oh, parasailing.
Yeah, that's more than anything. That's what I would want to do.
Would you
I might do
skydive?
that.
Then you're kind of like, and if you go down, it's into the water, and yeah, you would hurt. That's not awesome, but you'd be fine.
What if you met a cool person who is a skydive instructor and you became friends with them over time? And then they were like, "I'll take you skydiving," someone you trust, and then they're your person that walks
If
you off.
yeah, I don't even think I need to know them for a long time. I would just need to know that they were like a real pro and that they did this all of the time
And
that,
nothing bad's ever
like,
happened.
they're just like this. They do this day in and day out. This is routine. And my whole thing is this because I trust professionals, and on top of me just trusting professionals, if I can do the hey bro, I'm really terrified. Can we do another double check before we do anything? And they go, sure, yeah. So on top of everything I do, before we jump, I'll do another just like check. I think that's the best case scenario for me. I've got a pro. Again, I could have met them the day before, but just somebody who's like, man, I've been doing this for fucking 15 years.
Can you bring like a second parachute? Like, could you be like, you know what? I'd be really comfortable if we just bring a backup. You know what I mean?
They
like,
have a second in there.
what's that?
They have a second.
Oh, they do have a
First
second.
one doesn't go. Yeah,
So I didn't invent that. I'm
thought
not
it.
like, yeah.
I would want to get to because I've known a couple people who've skydived. And they told me that you can take courses so that you can skydive on your own. And I would like to do that.
No.
Because I feel like that would be most like flying. Because I would do the tandem jump.
Like that's when like a dude's like strapped to you.
But I'm not in control of this. I would like to be in
like you
You
control.
jump off a cliff and then you have like the wings.
That scares me more.
No,
because that's
that
flying
you need
in
to be a
amongst cliffs.
professional. Yeah, that you need to be like a professional.
I could see myself doing that as an old man if I had like a midlife crisis. that would be my thing.
So as I was researching all these adrenaline junkie things, I found out that volcano boarding is a thing. So it's actually like more safe than it sounds. So basically, it's people snowboarding on volcano rock. And there's not like lava. It's just like actually like just there is probably lava nearby, but it's like you're not going towards the lava. It's just like a volcano
Stay
rock.
away from the lava, folks.
But if you fall, you do slice the shit out of yourself because it's fucking sharp ass volcano rock. Like, so it is a bit of adrenaline thing in that sense.
rock.
That like you can't fall. Like, I don't know. That doesn't sound.
I think I'd skip that one.
Yeah, I think I would.
I
skip that one
snowboard,
as well.
but I'm like, snowboard, you don't cut yourself up when you fall.
I would never ski again. I've told you this before. It's like I went skiing once. It was terrifying. Never again. And I definitely
I went down double black diamond by accident and I fucked myself up. I went off a jump and my fucking snowboard. So when I was a kid, I wanted to go snowboarding and my parents were broke as fuck. So instead of buying me an actual snowboard, they went to a garage sale and bought me one of those like toy snowboards that's like shaped like a snowboard.
You just put your like normal snow boots in.
Yeah. And so I hit this jump. It wasn't even that big. I mean, it was big, but it wasn't like this. It was like that. You know what I mean? But on the other end is like a fucking 20-foot drop or whatever.
Yeah.
So I hit it and then the buckles undo because I'm like third hand. And then so I because when you jump and then the buckles undo, you go forward because you're not jump. It's like you kind of spring forward. And then so I did this thing where then I landed on my back and I couldn't turn my head left for like the rest of like the semester. I was like a fucking like that guy for a while. And I'd still go snowboarding again.
I broke my tailbone. I took a year off of snowboarding after that because I was a little puck shy.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Damn.
I went skiing on the same slope that Liam Neeson's wife died on. And I almost died on it. So
That's actually why Jess went. She's a very dark tourist.
I'm a super Liam Neeson fan too.
But you're better than Liam Neeson's wife now. You're strong.
Yeah, I could say that.
You outlasted her, that's for sure.
You have a special set of skills, which is not dying on a ski hill.
It's true.
That's the second special set of skills joke of my podcast.
So I think we should close off the podcast with a little holiday this or that. Are you guys down?
Let's go.
Sure.
All right. So we're gonna start.
Holiday, this or that.
So we're gonna start it. We're gonna start off a little light. Turkey or ham?
What are we doing with it?
Eating it.
Eating it or are we fucking it?
No, you're eating it 100%.
Eat turkey, fuck ham.
No, it's not. It's not that type of this or that.
Why? You don't make all the rules. Eat one you have to eat, one you have to fuck.
Marry mashed potatoes.
Yeah, okay. You're gonna eat one, fuck one.
Does it? What am I doing? Just plain by themselves?
Well, let's say both are cooked to your preference.
All right. Well, I think turkey. Turkey with some gravy.
But which one would you fuck?
Which one I fuck?
I think ham is probably the best texture for fucking, right?
Does ham have a hole?
No, you give it one, of course. I'm not saying as is. You could like carve it a little.
Ham's kind of wet and smooth, and turkey's kind of like it can get dry and
Yeah.
Too many
like
bones.
flaky.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Fake tree or real tree?
Real tree.
I'm actually allergic to pine.
I'd fuck the fake tree.
I'm allergic to pine, so I go fake tree 100%.
Well, for you, I would too then.
I'd use the real tree and fuck the real tree.
Okay.
I'd use the maple sap as lubricant.
Sappy hour.
Stuffing or no stuffing? I think stuffing's
I'd
disgusting.
fuck the stuffing. No stuffing.
Yeah, stuffing's gross.
Stuffing,
I feel
I
like
love
stuffing.
stuffing.
Really? I find it really gross.
It's one of my favorite parts of a meal.
It's like I don't know. It's like
I only have it
weird,
twice
like
a
it's like
year.
weird, like
I
poor
know you
people
guys spent
food.
all day making these delicious meats and stuff, but could I have that soggy bread again, please? Can you pass that bowl of soggy bread
That
this
soggy,
way?
like weirdly spiced thing that I would
Soggy,
never
spicy
normally
bread.
eat.
Could you pass the soggy, spicy
It
bread?
was inside of the turkey.
That makes it worse, not better.
No, it's cooked with turkey. It's great.
Pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Oh,
I'd fuck the pumpkin pie and eat the apple pie.
fuck the apple pie.
Well, no, because to me, pumpkins are decorations, not food. An apple is at least food. I don't really like pies at all. I'm not a pie person, but at least apples are food.
Not a pie guy.
No, I don't like pies.
I like both. I eat apple pie throughout the year more for the holiday time. Actually, pumpkin pie, that was Thanksgiving time. So for holidays,
My family
Apple
has
pie.
pumpkin at the holidays too.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but listen, they're dark people.
Because we're native.
I didn't mean your skin was dark.
Yeah, your soul.
Your souls.
Oh no, our souls are pretty lit.
Oh.
Tobogganing, skiing, or snowboarding?
Well, tobogganing most often, snowboarding's cooler, but I don't want to do it all the time.
I think we should do drunk tobogganing this year. There's not like that many like winter activities that
Let's
I
just
enjoy.
find an area with a couple of sparse trees and just try to miss them narrowly and get like drunk.
Yeah,
and, like just miss some trees.
I'm down.
You want to make sure it's nice and soft. A girl in my high school went to boozening, we called it. And it was, it had like freezing rain the night before.
Yep.
And on her first run, she bailed hard.
Yep.
She was like one of the hottest girls in school. And she scratched her face up hard. And it was grade 12, like February when she did it. And by the time prom rolled around, her face was still all mangled.
Wow.
Yikes.
She,
yeah.
Like, the whole like side of her face was all scratched up.
Yeah, man. You have to watch those icy hills. Camp Agape Valley. We used to fucking go down those icy hills. It literally almost went straight down at one point. Like it was like a straight down and then like went out and then there was like trees at the end.
The best tobogganing hill in my hometown, Bury, Ontario, was there was like this. I mean, there's a couple of really cool steep ones that we would go hit and build jumps off and stuff, and like those were always really fun. But the one that pops up in my memory was this other weird one where it was like a long winding hill that went like by a river, and it was like 20 minutes, 25 minutes to go down the hill, and then it would take you forever to walk back up, and it wasn't that steep, so it was more like, you know, it's not exactly this, but like a lazy river versus like a roller coaster. But it was a vibe because it was like went for a while where then you go down around this corner and then down through here past the river.
That sounds
and
awesome.
It was the fucking best. And like wouldn't have thought about it in a million years if you didn't bring up tobogganing. But most of the time we went to the crazy ones because that's where you'd meet all the guys from school and you'd build the jumps and like. But once in a while, my dad would load us up and he'd take us down behind the fucking new development where there was the river and we would do the big long one.
Oh,
and
that
then
sounds
we'd walk
awesome.
back up, do it a second time, and then like head go home. It was the best.
That's super dope.
I grew up I grew up in the country, and we had on our property a pretty steep hill that we would toboggan on, but it was quick. It was a short hill.
Yeah, those are way more exhilarating.
But we also had a snowmobile. So my dad would wait at the bottom, drive us up. And man, if you had a snowmobile for that long winding hill,
That's the shit. I only drove a snowmobile once. I almost crashed it, and the neighbor never let me ride it again. And then another neighbor, when I was a little kid, put me on like a little kid motorcycle. It was like sized for a kid, and I almost crashed that. And then they never let me go on that either.
I once picked up a 911 call, or I picked up a call while they were also calling 911 on the other phone of these two kids who they were like my friend's stepbrother and so. And
My dad's killing my mom.
And they ran into you know those like cement like things that like block up. What are those called?
barriers.
Barriers or whatever. And they broke all their knees. So like there was two people. They broke all four of their knees.
I keep trying to log off this podcast, but you just told a story that I have to tell a story now.
Okay.
So a girlfriend I dated a long time ago. We dated for a long time, so this isn't like a girl from like 2 seconds of my life. A significant girl in my history. She called me on the phone and was like, Anthony, I'm trying to find, trying to go to the office the office she was working at. And I can't figure out if I should go left on like the Gardner or right on Lakeshore. And I picked up my phone and I'm just like, sorry, babe, like, where are you? Which exit are you at? Hurry up! Hurry up! Do I go on the Gardner or do I go on Lakeshore? And I'm like, I don't know where you are. I just crashed into the fucking divider. And I was like, just pick a side. If I don't give you the answer in time, just choose a fucking side. And she crashed into the fucking divider. Yeah, these are things. This is why I love you.
I was gonna say you can never criticize me when this is the things that your exes would do.
No, trust me. Not only did I, in the moment, not give her any sympathy, I was like, that's fucking insane.
Is that the end of the relationship?
No, we had a huge fight that night, and we stayed together for a little while after. And I mostly always use that as an example of why she just wasn't even using her brain properly. Like, it was just, anyways, now's not the time to go into that. But yeah, it was hilarious.
She seems like the type of person who definitely wouldn't be able to pick where to go for dinner.
Yeah,
She can't pick which exit.
Combo for another day. I'm not gonna let's just shit on my ex for the last 10 minutes of this episode.
I've got two more holiday this or that.
Okay, go.
Hang out with kids all day or hang out with grandparents
Not
all
the fuck thing
day.
anymore, that's for sure. Grandparents for sure.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I miss them. They were great.
Yeah, grandparents.
I want to
too.
say grandparents because I'm not a big kid person, but I also haven't had grandparents since I was a young boy.
Same
Are they
thing.
zombies? Are they
Grandparents been
dead?
gone
And
for a while.
are they alive again? Are they zombies?
They're just regular grandparents.
Oh, they kids.
Are they vampire parents trying to suck my blood the entire time? Because then it's kids, just barely kids.
All right, one last holiday this or that question, then we're wrapping up our 20th,
Yeah,
right?
20th episode.
Our 20th episode of Damaged Goods Podcast. So everyone unwraps their gifts all at once, or you watch people unwrap their gift one at a time?
Mine goes by my same feelings about sex.
Take it slow.
Extend the experience.
Extend the experience. I agree completely.
I am opposite of how I have sex. I extend the experience. I do the making out of the gifts. I give them.
Yeah.
You like
know what I
pussy
love
of the
doing?
gift, suck on the toes of the gift.
You like open it slowly, but then whatever it is, like if it's a shirt or something, you like try it on.
I
you know
spit
what
on
I
it.
mean? Yeah. Spit on it. I think that's a good place to end.
Do you think if we title the episode "Spit on It," we'll get fucking pulled? So one of the issues we've been having here is like episode title names where we can't sponsor the promote the episode because they're like, we called one like catcalling and cam girls, and they thought they were like, you can't promote your cam girl service.
Yeah.
We called another one something about crypto, and they're like, you can't promote your
Even
crypto
sexy,
service.
we had something and sexy Jafar.
Sexy Jafar,
and
like,
they
you
wouldn't
can't promote
because
your
we had the
sexual
word
services.
sex in it. Like they wouldn't let us promote
We've been
it.
accused of selling tobacco products, gambling products. Like Facebook just flags us for everything.
I don't think anyone will believe you're selling spit.
So spit on it, but all it would take is one person over at Facebook to be like, "Fam, I understand what the fuck you're talking about." Anyways, more on that
Spit on
later.
a shirt that my mom gave me.
More on that. Merry Spitmas from us here, and happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. This is probably our holiday.
And
podcast.
what we should do is me and you should do an episode in that little weird window between Christmas and New Year's Eve. 'Cause
Yes,
we have like
for
4
sure.
days off where I'm pretty sure no one's going to buy any lyric videos, but who fucking knows? And certainly I have no shows, etc. So we should definitely do a podcast in there, and that'll be our last one for 2018. This is our second last. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, thanks so
for having
much.
me.
Meeting you.
This has been a blast. Illy, come on
Shall.
back on my podcast anytime.
Shall be fun.
Or come on at any time, and just come back on at any time.
Yeah,
You can't tell us apart, Jess. It happens all the time.
Yeah, you
that's cool.
I love y'all. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Are there other holidays, or is Kwanzaa the only other one?
So don't worry.
Okay, and if there's another one we're missing, it's that one too.
Happy New Year's.
You too.
I guess you guys are gonna be back. I won't.
Yeah.